uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
To read these comments. Bucs suck. You know what? You suck.
This guy sucks.
You know what? You suck.
Shut up!
Because here's the thing I love about you, Troy. You're the first person to criticize this team, and I'll go ahead and take it. I'll take it like a man. I'll say the Bucs played bad. I'll say the Bucs played like shit. I will. It's after midnight. I'm cursing a little bit. Excuse me. Privileged language here on the sports web. But here's the thing I love about you. You never say that. You're just a hater, bro. You're just a troll. That's all you are. You bring nothing to the show at all. You just troll. That's all you do. So you can sit here and say the Bucs suck all day long, and for the majority of the game, they did. I'm not denying it. Should they have struggled versus the Arizona Cardinals, who were coming into this game at 4-10? No. And it's the same things that we talk about on this show ad nauseum all the time. Play calling, coaching decisions, Tom Brady not accurate, turning over the ball here the last couple of games with 2 interceptions tonight, not great throws, missing critical throws at critical times. And I always get into these conversations with people on Facebook and YouTube about the blame game. Let's play the blame game. Well, who's it on this time? Well, it's all on Brady. Well, no, it's not all on Brady. It's on the offensive line not playing well. Again, does he have his fair share into it? Yes, of course he does. I pointed that out. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not a cheerleader for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I hate to tell you, even though there's Bucs signs in the background, even though I've admitted that I've watched this team since I was 8 years old, I don't work for them. So I'm going to tell it like it is. Is this a playoff team right now? Not the way they played, although they were able to find a way to win. That's important. Can they play like this against Carolina? No, they can't. Because right now, I think Carolina is playing at another level, even with an interim coach, even with the trading of Christian McCaffrey and not having a quarterback at the majority of the year. Is the challenge here to win your next 2 games? Yes. Did Tom Brady miss throws tonight? Yes. He missed one in the first quarter. It would have been 7-0 with Julio Jones wide open. I don't know why it takes this long for this team to have the urgency that they do. I don't understand it. You're down 16-6, and then the offense wants to start clicking. Makes no sense. But as we always say here, a win is a win. They're 7-8, and they got an opportunity to take care of business next Sunday. Are you frustrated? I am. Because the majority of this game was like a Christmas movie / Halloween movie, a nightmare before Christmas, with the offense being the nightmare. And then it's a miracle in Glendale when you come back in the fourth quarter with 2 straight drives. Rashard White with the touchdown. Russell Gage making big-time plays down the field. Getting the field goal to tie it up. And then, of course, it's a wonderful life. Because somehow, some way, you pull out a victory. Which, by the way, hats off to the defense keeping you in the game tonight. Hats off to them. So you can sit here all day long, Troy, and say the Bucs suck. But here's the deal, my friend. Merry Christmas to you. I hope you got coal in your stocking. The Bucs win 19-16 to go to 7-8. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a Victory Monday. Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers survived the Arizona Cardinals last night, 19-16 on Christmas night. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show as we always do here on Monday and Wednesday nights and also during game days? Oh, yeah, we got a big announcement tonight. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. We'll have our guest on, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. We'll have handicapping extraordinaire, Mr. Harry the Greek of 1252 Chicago Sports. And then, as always, we'll take your phone calls. But before we get to that, kind of working on something today. I told you that we were looking for a spot to do a pre-half and post-game edition of the Sports Web covering your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So without further ado, here's where we're going to be on Sunday. Here we go.
At Whiskey Wings, we dish out more than just great food. Come in for a side of the good times with live entertainment, ice-cold drinks, and a rockin' game room your whole family can enjoy. Fire up the fun at Whiskey Wings.
That's right. Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs on Sunday, starting about 11:30. We'll get you ready for Bucs versus the Carolina Panthers, and it's for basically the NFC South. I tell you what, let's go out to one of the great bartenders there, Danielle Francis. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. I'm happy that we're coming there to see you guys. Tell me all about Whiskey Wings in Tarpon. Welcome to the evolution.
Oh, thank you. Whiskey Wings is a great bar. It's really got something for everybody. We have a game room for kids, and our customers range from 2, 3 to 80 years old. So I would say the median age is about 45, and it really is a local neighborhood bar. I know probably 70% of the people's name in the bar, at all times. So we have a lot of regulars. We have a lot of great specials. On Football Sunday, we do buckets of Bud and Bud Light for $13.99. And we also do buckets of neutral seltzers for $20. We also have specials during the week, Monday through Thursday from 8 to close. We do for $20, we do a pitcher of land shark and 10 wings, which is a phenomenal special. So if you come in on Monday and Thursday to see the Bucs, you can definitely take advantage of that special or any other Monday through Thursday during the week. We also do. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, we also do a great happy hour, and we have specials all throughout the week. So it's definitely affordable if you want to take advantage of our specials.
Absolutely. And what's the Bucs crowd like there? I mean, how much of a Bucs fan base do you guys have going on? We're going to be out front. I like that little lanai. I guess you call it a patio.
Oh, the patio.
Yes, it's a patio. It reminds me of College Game Day. And Danielle, what I always picture and envision the evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web, as a local Tampa Bay Buccaneer College Game Day. Tell us about that. Tell us about the Bucs crowd out there on Sunday during game days.
The Bucs crowd is great. We definitely get a lot of Bucs fans. But it gets kind of interesting because it is Florida. It is a mixing pot of people from all over the country. So you do get a lot of banter, which is really nice. And I mean, it's just a lot of energy. It's everybody kind of knows each other, and new people come in. Everyone's very welcoming. It really is a great vibe. And, we have a lot of fun there.
Absolutely. Sounds like a lot of fun. And I tell you right now, Bucs fans, the reason you should come out there is because you can be a part of the evolution of sports talk television. You can get on camera if you're a webhead. You can get on camera if you're a Giants fan or a Steelers fan or a Cowboy fan. Even Cowboy fans are welcome. All NFL fans are welcome at Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs. And not only that, but your GM, Miss Kim, says, if you come out there, and there's your address right there, Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs, 40737 US Highway 19 North, 4 $50 gift cards. And not only that, a 50-inch TV. That's what you guys are giving away there. And are you going to be there on Sunday? And are you ready to get on the evolution of sports talk television? Again.
Absolutely. I'll be there.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Let me ask you this. How long are you a Bucs fan? Are you a football fan? Is everybody there at Whiskey Wings football fans, sports fans in general?
Oh, we have all kinds of fans, not just football. Lately, we've been getting a lot of soccer. Hockey, obviously, we support the Lightning quite a bit, as well as other teams. Like I said, I'm a Giants fan, and I have another customer that's an Eagles fan, and he just loves to give me a hard time.
Well, I tell you right now, always welcome here on the Evolution. Thanks a lot for your time here.
Of course.
Definitely look forward to seeing you on Sunday for your pre-half and post-game edition of the Sports Web, the Evolution of Sports Talk Television on I Love St. Pete, Amped Up Sports, and The Hub. Thanks a lot.
See you. Take care.
All right. Thank you very much. There you go, Danielle Francis, a bartender there at Whiskey Wings. And you know what? I got to change it up here a little bit because I planned for this. There we go right there. Bam. There we go right there. Bam. Sundays, I tell you what, let's go ahead and go out to the comments here really quick. Troy Palamayu says first, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Broncos are about to hire Bruce Arians. Once again, false rumors.
Shitter!
The game plan, Misador says the game plan was actually solid. However, the terrible execution almost gave it away. I tell Ray all my favorite sayings all the time was from the DB coach. You can't sprinkle sugar on a turd and call it a candy bar. That win last night didn't taste like candy to me, but a win is a win, and I get it. A lot of fans out there are disappointed, but the Bucs are in prime position to take care of business, win the NFC South. We got some other things to talk about, not just that, some injury situations that are going on. Bowles is so pathetic after the win. He told the team, see you guys Wednesday. That way they perform. They should be back to work on Monday. Misador, Dan Peters sounded like Dr. Seuss, Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs. It's got a good ring to it here on the Sports Web. And you know that I'm going to have my guys out there. And I'm going to introduce them in just a moment. Let me go out to Troy. Whoa, Peter, what's her name? Send me a DM. No.
Shitter!
Be quiet, Alexander. That was not Alexander.
This guy sucks.
That was her dog. And oh my God, she was smoking hot, bro. All right. Well, I'm glad you approve of that. Let me tell you what. Let's go out to the Greek right here. Let's go ahead and get his music on. Here we go. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. Welcome to the Evolution, my friend. And I tell you what, let's get out to Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, as we are going to have a 2-camera shot. Yours truly, along with Harry the Greek. And then right there, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay there in the game room. So it's good for the kids. It's good for all the sports fans out there. Guys, I'm excited about this. Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs. Your thoughts, Harry the Greek?
It's fantastic. Whiskey Wings, place to go. Tarpon Springs. I grew up there, man. Where do you think the Greek comes from? Greek town.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun on Sunday. Peter, you're going to have to bring it, though. It's just as simple as that. And Ray, I'm counting on you, brother.
Oh, you know I always bring it. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. How excited are you about being involved in this. Once again, getting back on track. It's been a long time, my friends, since we've been out there for a pre-half and post-game edition. You think you can do this? And he's muted.
No audio.
Uh-oh.
There it
Sorry,
is.
going back to 3 to 4 or 5 years ago, we were locking it down with your pre-half and post-game shows. And Peter, you can tell everyone out there, you did not tell me. Maybe Harry the Greek was in on it, but you didn't tell me where you were looking. You just said you had a location, a deal was in the mix, and man, whiskey wings, forget about it. I've been hearing things about whiskey wings all over the place. How great the wings are, the signature sauces, the fun times that are there, and it's a great sports crowd. Now we're going to be there, the Sports Web, on Sunday, covering your Buccaneers as they again go for this NFC South against those Panthers. So I'm really excited.
And you know what's even better? You remember, it's got a diversified crowd there. They're all NFL teams. You got Eagles fans up there, Giants fans, you have Bear fans, you have all kinds of fans. We're going to talk all that football.
Absolutely. We're going to talk all that football. We want all that smoke on Sunday. And speaking of the smoke, for the first 3.5 quarters there, I think a lot of people were just smoking hot, if you will, with this Buccaneer offense once again struggling. But Tom Brady once again pulls it off in the fourth quarter here. Not his best game, but he pulls it off as my mom in the background is just giving me the business. I can't, I have to describe, it's unbelievable. It's become a family affair. Every time Brady leads that fourth quarter comeback, she's just excited. She's ready to tell you, I told you so, I told you so. And you eventually win in overtime. Your thoughts of, once again, this struggling offense and Brady 2 interceptions in this game? Harry.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're going to me first.
Yes,
Wow.
going to you, yes.
Ray gets mop-up duty. I like it, Ray, because he tell you what, because Ray knows
I'm doing
where to
shots
bring
of
it
red.
from.
I'm doing shots of Fireball over here, so I'm just taking my time.
I don't even know what to tell you about the game, and everybody's a lot more optimistic about it. Look, guys, they got a lot of problems. A lot of problems, this team. It really does. Look, a W is a W, but Trace McSorley, really? You serious? Yeah, that quarterback up under center. We're not talking about the first place Buccaneers. We're talking about the team that's tied and fighting for the division. But you know what? It's still a very meaningful game coming this Sunday when they are hosting the Carolina Panthers, because that's for all the marbles. They win, they're in. It's simple as that. Correct, Ray?
Yeah, I've been saying all along. People have been saying, "Oh, they could." I said they're 2-15 or 15-2. If you win your division, that's what it's all about. The first thing you have, every team in every division, whether it's the AFC North to the NFC South, you're built to beat the teams in your division. You're in your division to make the second round, the second dance, the playoffs. Once you make the playoffs, like the New York Giants with the wild card, taking out the Patriots in that perfect season. Once you make the dance, a team can get hot at the right time. All I'm saying is this is the team. Last week, this Buccaneers defense made the AFC champions of 2021, who are basically crowned behind the Bills to be there again in 2022. We put defense up their ass for 30 minutes. Now, the thing that scares me is we collapsed in the second half. That tells me this team hasn't figured out how to put it all together. But that half last week alone, and then the way the defense played last week against the McSorley, again, a third-string quarterback with no film on it, going into Arizona. Steve Keim is out. Kyler Murray's hurt. That team, J.J. Watt basically put him on the shoulders and wanted to carry them. That Buccaneers defense showed up. Now, this offense, yeah, still MIA. That's still the thing to have concern about. But as far as this defense goes, I'm excited about what this Buccaneers defense can do in the next season.
Yeah, let's not count out that defense that's sitting in Carolina. Let's play devil's advocate right here. This team's playing with momentum, and unfortunately, Carolina's a better football team at this time. But the better football team doesn't always win, ladies and gentlemen. Do I have to keep making reasons for people to understand that? Take a look at Houston. Were they the better football team to beat Tennessee? Was Houston the better team to tie Indianapolis in week 1? Was Houston the better team not only just to cover, but they should have beat the Dallas Cowboys and the Kansas City Chiefs?
Mm-hmm.
The best teams don't always win. And that win, and I'm trying to give everybody a little scare tactic. It was Trace McSorley, and the whole 9 yards. But what I'm really trying to tell you is this. Don't fall asleep on this Buccaneer team. They can still put it together. But, man, they don't look very good offensively.
They don't look very good offensively. And also bad news here. Looks like Josh Wells is done for the year. You saw that injury. Couldn't even put any weight on it.
That's a shame.
And then also Tristan Wirfs may have re-aggravated that ankle injury. So there's some doubt if he's even going to play in that Carolina game. What a tremendous loss that would be. And the Bucs hope they can get back Donovan Smith. With that being said, the biggest concern, in my opinion, is the 320 rushing yards that this Panthers team displayed last Saturday versus the Detroit Lions, who we talked about it. Offensively, they're getting better, but defensively, they're bad. The Bucs need Vita Vea back on that defensive line, and it really does start up front for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team, right, Harry?
Yeah, again, I'll take off with that portion of the question, but we're not showing that much love to Akeem Hicks. Boy, I'll tell you what, you talk about someone who's been stepping up a little bit on the defensive line. It's been Akeem. He's been healthy. He's been strong. He's been knifing into the backfield. He's causing a lot of havoc. But boy, oh boy, bud, you get Vita Vea sitting next back to him. We're sitting right next to him. Oh, that's going to cause nightmares for a lot of offensive lines.
Yeah, and it has to be the main matchup at the end of the day. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay, because 109 yards by Chuba Hubbard and then 109 yards at halftime by Deontay Foreman. And if you're the staple, and that's what this Bucs defense wants to be against a rushing attack like the Panthers, you've got to step up even without a Vita Vea. Hopefully you get him back next Sunday.
And a lot of what you've seen the Bucs scheming to do in the last couple of weeks, it started against Joe Burrow. Maybe it started the week before, but you've seen them starting to pull a Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. They're starting to pull guys back in shallow coverage, relying on the linebackers to stop the run at the corners. And you saw yesterday, I think by the end of that game, even Connor, who ended up having a minuscule amount of success against this Buccaneers defense, the Buccaneers showed up yesterday and they were playing stout against that rush. Now you put Sam Darnold again into a position where he has to pass to beat his team. He's had 2 years in that, and that's the thing that scares me about this Bucs-Panthers game, is that I don't want the Bucs and I don't want Todd Bowles and that defense working all week to do like we've always done against the Carolina Panthers, even though it's minus Christian McCaffrey. But even with Foreman, even with Hubbard, we were still able to stop the run, except for last game when we got down so far because our offense was so inept that their run basically came out and our offense was just trying to pass it and giving it back. But we got to remember, Sam Darnold can also pitch to Biscuit, and it's the second year in that system, whatever system they're running there. But we got to make sure that we're ready to stop the pass, but just keep playing the run the way we've been playing, because that's the one thing I love when people are saying, oh, these Panthers are so scary. They had 1,000 yards rushing on Saturday. And I'm like, that plays right into the teeth of this Buccaneers defense. I'm okay with that. That makes it a fair game for me. We still have to rely on the offense to get it going so that we can score some points to beat those Panthers.
Well, I'll tell you what I did see is Tampa never really abandoned the run in that game, Ray. And, and talking about Connor, he didn't have that bad of a game. 15 rushes, what did he do, like 70 yards? I know they ran for $130, which is not a good thing. However, with that being said, what was Arizona going to do? They really had to concentrate on that run, especially, when they were, really challenged at the quarterback position, throwing the deep ball. They tried. He threw a pick, never got a touchdown. But you know what was more impressive, Ray?
What's
the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 30 rushing attempts. Let that sink in. I don't care if it was for 50 yards. It wasn't. It was for like $115. But they had 30 rushing attempts. I can't remember. That's like 2 games worth of rushing attempts.
Yeah, it really is at the end of the day here. And of course, we're on the evolution of sports talk television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports, and best of the Bay, Mr. Tampa Bay Ray. If you missed the big announcement, we will be live with your pre-half and post-game editions of the Sports Web, getting you ready for Bucs versus the Panthers at Tarpon Springs Whiskey Wings. And once again, I got to promote this, because if you come out there as a Bucs fan, not only can you be a part of the evolution of sports talk television, but they're giving away 4 $50 gift cards and also the possibility of
50-inch television.
50-inch television. I mean, all you got to do is come out.
Ray, where's mine, Ray?
Right. Well,
Ray, seriously.
Well, you listen. Everybody knows you got like an 80-inch television or something, like 120-inch television.
No, I was talking about the fireball Ray was just pouring himself. I could really use one of those.
This is A&W root beer.
Oh, yeah, that's A&W, all right.
Let's go ahead and get out.
Oh, but can you imagine 30 rushing attempts, guys? We can't let that go by the wayside here.
Right. I agree.
30 rushing attempts. It was, God bless it, was almost a balanced attack. Dare I say that?
Well, no, you definitely could say that. And Leonard Fournette had a huge game, 162 total yards of offense, 9 catches for 90 yards.
Yeah, 72 on the ground.
And here's a player today that talked about a Liz Frank injury, so maybe that's the reason why he doesn't necessarily have that burst, because if you know anything about that, when it comes to Liz Frank injuries, they can definitely be something that is going to hold you back. He talked about it today on Twitter. I'm playing with a Liz Frank in my foot every week, can hardly push off my foot. And then he later, deleted the tweet. Of course, if the Bucs didn't report that injury, then there could be possibility of some type of discipline from the National Football League. But it would seem to make sense, gentlemen. The reason why you don't necessarily see that burst from Fournette this year is because of a possible injury like that.
Well, don't forget, it was also last season. It was when Fournette was having some issues early this season when Rashad White started getting all his playing time. And you know what? Fournette just showed up as a baller yesterday. But I'm telling you what, go back to that play, and I posted on my Facebook page, the mall. And, you questioned at times. We started to question. I talked with James Canada from Big Game Sports Buzz about this 7 games ago. I said, are we going to get to a place where this defense and this offense, there's a chasm here because the defense is kind of pissed off that they're not getting any support from the offensive side of the ball, which has kind of seemed to be with the disconnect with this entire Buccaneers team has been in 2022, whether it's from the GM down to the coaches, to the assistant coaches, to the offense and defense. And to see that maul, as they called it, which basically was to me was a scrum, but to see all 10 guys, well, 9 guys, because Tom Brady wasn't in there, but see them all getting behind Lenny Fournette there and pushing him for that first down, or seemingly, that's the kind of thing that I think gives Bucs fans cause for hope, is the fact that these guys are all on the same page. They haven't found the right ingredients to make that recipe perfect, but they're trying. And all you can ask for is a team that has a shot to win the division, last 2 weeks of the season, can make the playoffs, and is trying. Because again, if they find that recipe at just the right time, could be magic in 2022.
And you know what, guys? I mean, what about the fact that they're running the football? I'm going to keep beating this drum.
Sure, beat it.
Okay, I got to keep beating it, Ray, until I hear the wheels come off of it. If they do this continuously, especially, and I'm trying to be nice when I say this, as challenged as they are, especially on the offensive line, and we already know that Wells isn't going to be back, and the possibility of Tristan Wirfs may have came back early, re-aggravated that injury. Keep running that football. Just keep pounding the rock. And by the way, if Lenny himself is that injured, I don't know, guys. I don't know who I'd rather have running the football, and his name is Rashard White. I'm going to be honest with you. I really would. Younger, quicker legs, more explosive. I don't know about his hands, but I'm sure they're not that bad from what I've noticed coming out of the backfield. The guy can catch passes. I mean, Lenny, I'll tell you what, had a great game yesterday catching the ball. I think they targeted him 10 times and actually had 9 receptions.
9 catches for 90 yards, and again, a total of 100.
But if Leonard Fournette is actually injured, you need to start really feeding that ball to Rashard White, because you never know. The same thing could happen. It happened, last year, or was that the year before, that someone broke away for a 90 or – no, that was somebody else. That was Ronald Jones, the victim of volume.
I'm kidding. Sorry.
It was a bad analogy, okay? But
well, it was a great 98-yard touchdown, longest in Buccaneers, and that was against the Panthers. Nice call, Harry.
It was 98 yards, longest run in Tampa Bay Buccaneer history. Now, I know Harry.
The Greek's just a Bear fan. The Greek doesn't remember much.
Well, listen, I know you love the Pro Football Focus grades out there.
What? Don't even tell me about no Pro Football Focus grades. Okay, those are for people that just don't know much about football. Stop.
Listen, hold on. It's supporting your point here, genius.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It must be a good idea then.
77.0 by Rashard White. Top 5 offense. Gage was 74.1. He had a good game last night. Really stepped up, had a drop, but that was Brady's fault if you look back on the throw. Lenny, 67.4. Godwin, 67.3. And Hansy at 62.4. The bottom 5 offense. Kyle Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Hey, Rudolph is showing up yesterday, though. Hey,
what was he on the field for, guys?
41
because he was bringing it. He was walking.
Now, hold on. Rudolph, 41.8. Walton, who took over for Josh Wells.
Seminole Warhawks.
44.2. Gadecki, 45.9. Otten, 46.6. And Wells, 52.3. Save the thought. Let's go out to the phone lines here. Tribal Troll will go ahead and acknowledge you.
Acknowledge me.
Mr. Roger Shupert,
my man.
Welcome to the Evolution Yard with yours truly, along with Harry, the Greek professional handicapper extraordinaire, and best of the Bay, Mr. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Go.
The Tribal Troll is in the house for the last time in 2022. So, hey,
Wow.
are all of you guys going to be at
Nice.
Whiskey Wings on Sunday?
We
Yes.
are going to be there. Whiskey Wings. That's the
All
big
right.
time
I will be
announcement.
there live.
You're going to be
I'll
there
be there
live.
live in the living color. I'm bringing probably my aunt and uncle with me.
Okay. We're going to get you
Try
on
to support
camera.
the sports web.
Oh.
Absolutely. I'll be more than willing.
Okay.
Come to the game room, Roger. I'll be in the game room. Come see me.
Well, you come and see Ray because he's going to be in the game room and definitely get on the main shot there. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to love this main shot, ladies and gentlemen, because it's always what I envisioned here. You can even talk about this. I feel like there's going to be football fans all around the place. I want complete chaos. I want people screaming Tampa Bay. That's the kind of atmosphere I want, and that's the kind of
Greek, you'll
atmosphere.
see me. I'll be the one wearing the Justin Fields jersey.
That's hey, brother. You're not the only one. I'll be bearing down. You know what I'm saying? We're playing for that draft pick, baby.
All
Keep
right.
losing, Chicago.
Keep losing. There you go, right there. Did you say
Hey,
Chicago?
I'll have
All right,
Bears.
enough of that. You know
They
what?
ever
We'll go with this right here.
There you go.
Hold on.
B-U-C-C-A-N.
Let's go, Bucks.
All right, go
My
Bucs. There you
first
go.
album I ever had.
All
First
right.
album I ever had.
Hey,
Plastic album.
hey,
WD gave it away.
we're the
Square.
Buccaneers.
All right.
Hey, one thing.
Yes.
Can I do a shot of Uzo with the Greek?
Without question, brother. Hey, the Greek's going to be in Tarpon. Don't worry. The Greek's bringing a following to Tarpon Springs at the Whiskey Wings. I
And
think
then
Whiskey Wings.
after the game on Sunday, we're going to go dive for the Epiphany Cross over in the bayou there. So
That's actually coming up. I think
Let's
it's the
do it.
8th, or I think
yes,
it's
it
the 8th.
is.
It's either the 8th or the 9th of
It's
January.
the best. It's the best.
Oh, it's incredible.
You
I'll
know,
tell you what. for
Harry,
peop- yeah.
I've lived here 40 years. I've never gone to see the Epiphany. This year, I'm going.
Well, you know, there's nothing like, you know, and I'm not trying, I'll try to be politically correct as possible. There's nothing like 10,000 people out there with a whole bunch of boys running around their ski-bees, standing on little boats, freezing. And then you got a priest rowing across and watching, I don't know, 50 kids jump in the water. It sounds great.
Oh, man. You
You're
know
going to
what?
hell.
It's
You're
time to
going
go
to
with
hell.
that.
Actually, I dove.
Shut up!
Hey, hold on, man. I was one that actually dove for the cross.
Really?
Yes,
Did
sir,
you
I did.
really?
How did
Yes.
you do? How did the Greek do?
Let's just put it this way. I dove the year, and this is a true story. This is actually pretty cool. You can look it up. Back in the day, they actually took a cross in Spring Bayou and they would throw it, and it was made out of gold. Okay, so the thing sunk like a rock. Well, it disappeared. It was never found. They
Wow.
couldn't find it. So now the cross that they use, when it hits the water, it drops down about 5 feet and it comes right up to the top of the water. So now that everybody's down. See, there's a lot. Everybody was having theories, you know, God took it, whatever happened. What happened is that one of the springs actually sucked it up and someone became a pretty wealthy person because that thing was gold, absolutely gold. But one year I had my hand on the cross and I'm trying to come up with it. I let go of it. Let's just put it that way.
Just let go of it, okay?
You had to, man. I mean, people wanted to beat the brakes off of you
Tell them what
underwater and try
happened,
to
Harry.
drown you.
Tell them what really happened. The devil came in and said, "Let it go." You had to let it go.
All right, Roger, what else?
That was it, man. Let's hope for a Bucs victory, and I'll see all of you in person on Sunday.
All right.
Acknowledge me!
Hey, listen, I like go full screen because there is one person that I do want to make sure comes out there. Troy Polamalu, you need to come out. Okay, you need to make an appearance and actually come out. Okay, it's 2022. We're asking you to come out. Okay, come out, Troy.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I tell you what, let me go full screen really quick because this segment is brought to you by Spring Hill Trailer and Equipment Repairs. Of course, again, it's for all your repairs. They repair all types of trailers. Again, the phone number is 985-570-7269. Once again, it is Spring Hill Trailer and Equipment Repairs right there. Let's go to the 3-shot. I wanted to make sure to get that in there because the owner of that is actually tuning in right now. So don't want to forget him. And once again, the big time announcement will be live with our pre-half and post-game edition of the Sports Web Live from Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs. 4 $50 gift cards being given away and a 50-inch television. With that being said, I tell you what, let's go out to Tom Brady here. His thoughts on beating the Cardinals here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Here we go.
Keep it close in the fourth quarter. We know we got a shot, and just too many plays to not get ahead. And then we played better there in the fourth quarter. We executed pretty well. Made a bunch of broke some tackles. Ran hard. A lot of guys made plays in the past game. Some contested catches. Got a hit as soon as they caught it and came up with it. So defense really stepped up. So it was a great way to down 10 in the fourth quarter on the road. It's great to find a way to win.
All right, so welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. That's Tom Brady there, of course, talking about it. And I got to come to you, Harry, and then we'll go to you, Ray. Why is it so difficult for this team, and why did they have to get down? They get down 16-6 late on the fourth quarter. Of course, a lot of Bucs fans ruling them out, but of course, you can never do that with Tom Brady at the controls with another fourth quarter comeback. But why does it take this team with their backs up against the wall to show true urgency to their offense?
You know what? Again, they were playing the Arizona Cardinals yesterday. Let's remember, guys, they're a 4-win team. They're not that good, okay? And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lately have had the propensity of coming out and not being a very high-powered offense. They still have time to get this offense clicking to make it get better. Why has it been happening? I don't know. We talk about it every single week. We can stand on a soapbox. I say it's the offensive line. Ray thinks it's the coaching. You think it's the coaching and Tom Brady. Misador thinks it's the water boy. This guy thinks it's the head of management. You know what I think? I think if you run the football, did I say that enough, by the way? I think if you run the football and become balanced, it's going to get better. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like they're going to make the playoffs this year. They should be able to beat Carolina. Not going to be the easiest game in the world for them because Carolina has the momentum. But what good are they going to do going into the playoffs? Because you're not going to win many football games scoring 16 to 18 points.
Agree, Ray.
Did you guys see after the Buccaneers went for second and one, third and one, and fourth and one? They went for it on all four downs, ran the same running play.
Exact same one.
They showed a sideline, and Todd Bowles drops an F-bomb, which is not only I've heard that he talks like that in practice, but we've never seen him do it in a game. When you see Todd Bowles drop an F-bomb after the third attempt at the same running play to get a yard that was unsuccessful, his defense was shutting them out. We were up 3-0, and they were feeding. I mean, the defense was doing this right here off that offense for those Cardinals. Do you guys really think that Todd Bowles was the coach that called those 3 trap running plays, 3 in a row that went for no yardage and turned the ball over at 50-yard line instead of letting Camarda punt it down in deep and letting that defense, who was doing this already, continue to do that? Let me ask you that. Pete, you answer that. What do you think Todd Bowles is the one that called that running play 3 plays in a row?
I think it's Byron Leftwich. And,
bingo.
And I think that's the problem at the end of the day. And
bingo.
As much as you want to run the ball, there should be a variation. Run the ball on the outside with Rashard White. If you're going to run the ball, instead of running it on the right side, run it to the left side, run it to the middle. Don't do it 3 plays in a row, the same play. It makes no sense. And that's the reason why there's so many fans out there calling for Leftwich's job. Right, Harry?
It's unfair. Right now, again, it goes back to that offensive line. If their offensive line was completely intact, do you not think they would have got that 1 yard? Absolutely, they would have gotten it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's arguably one of the best offensive lines in football when they're healthy. But you know what? When you're not healthy and you're trying to get that 1 yard, yeah, Ray, mix it up a little bit. I mean, run a sweep, run a trap play, a jet sweep, something a little. Hey, how about this for something? How about play action?
Well,
because on 3 of those plays, Ray, if you notice, they had not 6 in the box, 7. They had 8 in one play. They had 9 in the box. Go back to the tape and take a look at it.
Well, let me give you this. Here's the problem. There's too many masters.
Because a tight end, I promise you, a tight end will be open.
Well, but too many masters are getting served here. Okay, everybody's trying to serve Jason Light. Jason Light's trying to serve the Glazers. Byron Leftwich is trying to serve Bruce Arians, and so is Todd Bowles, who, by the way, got the job because Arians stepped aside. Whether or not Tom Brady had anything to do with that, but the problem is, my point is, when I make that point, that when I saw Todd Bowles drop that F-bomb after the third attempt at the same running play that went for the same amount of yardage, that was 0, and they turned the ball over on downs, when your defense was doing this, that tells me that Todd Bowles is being made to, hey, you got the greatest of all time at quarterback. Let him and Byron come up with the offensive plays. You just run that stellar defense of yours. That's been a problem with your 2022 Buccaneers because, Harry, you don't know this, and Peter, you don't know this. I don't have this for fact. Pewter Report doesn't have it for fact. Bucs Life doesn't have it for fact. But the fact of the matter is, the 53 that are in the locker room over there, those guys, they do have it for fact. And they know who's the head coach in charge, or they know who's making the call. And here's the problem, guys. You start to cause a chasm because the defense thinks the offense is getting too much. The offense thinks the defense feels it too good. You start to cause that chasm. At the end of the day, both teams have 53 guys on both sides are getting paid. And if you cause any kind of a chasm, you start to create a breakdown. And that's when you start to have a team like the Buccaneers that can hold the Cincinnati Bengals and make them look like they're bitches in the first half last week. And in the second half, they fall apart. And then they go to Arizona, and the offense still can't find itself, even though the defense is still looking good. Problem is that we got to find out who's the head coach in charge now against the Panthers this Sunday at Raymond James Stadium as we get ready to make these playoffs. Because here's the thing. If they don't figure out who's the head coach in charge by 1 o'clock on Sunday, the Bucs might not be in the playoffs in 2022.
Well,
It's a
that's
great-
the
it's a
but
great-
they
it's a
but they
great
still have
point.
another week. It's
Right.
a great point, but they still got another week to do that. Okay, I mean they're in the driver's seat. They're win, they're in, and if they don't win, it's completely their fault. But Ray, you know what? Let's talk about the other glaring issue that no one's even talked about. Let's talk about a 45, 46, or even 100-year-old quarterback, whatever old he is. By the way, he sounds like crap during that interview. His voice is completely gone.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
I'll
talk
tell,
about the.
I'll tell you what. Let's hear from Tom Brady in
I
the
was gonna make-
interceptions. And well, I know you're going to make a point, but save that point. Let's hear from Brady really quick on his interceptions, of course. And I'm trying to think of the player, but he'll talk about it here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Here we go.
They played cover 2. We had a go route, and I threw the ball pretty early. And, he had his eyes on it before Mike did. And then he came down with it. And the second one, they were in man coverage, and Mike broke to the outcut. I was late throwing it. And, he made a great catch. Good, we kind of set it up. We had a few plays where they were really aggressive on some of those little flare routes. And, we just said, hey, let's make an adjustment and pump it and give ourselves a shot, and ended up being a good play.
And I believe it's Marco Davis who had the 2 interceptions, and he was asked about it, and he basically said it in so many words. It was a bad throw. It was an underthrown, and then on top of it, he didn't get it out to Evans, who, for me, this is probably the biggest disappointment, even though he's not that far away from having 1,000 yards for his 9th consecutive year. That chemistry has not been there this year. It showed on Sunday night. Once again, Brady having him open a couple times, not able to get him the ball or not even looking his direction. Harry, go ahead and make your point here on the Sports Web.
The point I was going to try to make is I think, and again, but they won't do it because no one dares to challenge Tom Brady and question his decisions because he's the GOAT. He's got 7 rings. He's this, he's that. The bottom line is the guy's older than Father Time. He doesn't roll out because he's not capable. Okay. Mm-hmm. You've got a very porous offensive line, but why aren't they bringing in Blaine Gabbert once in a while? Hold on. Or even a Kyle Trask. Even Kyle Trask is not a mobile quarterback. But hey, let's make these defenses a little bit more honest. There's no other team that runs the ball up the gut on first down more than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they don't even get 2 yards a carry. They don't even get 2 yards a carry. Okay, so change it up. Run your play action, run the rollout, bring another quarterback in to do that because you know what? It's going to create more of a, dare I say, something that New Orleans does with Taysom Hill, but not maybe quite as extreme as that. There's nothing wrong with giving your quarterback a little bit of a break. What's it going to hurt? They're not doing crap anyway in the entire first half, and they ain't putting up but 16 to 18 points a game. Ray, your thoughts?
I mean, it goes back to Ray here with Brady missing that throw to Julio Jones because the complexion of that game is completely different. If you complete that early pass because you give this offense that momentum, and it's 7-0, which this team has had all kinds of difficulty scoring early.
Well, it's funny that I'm going to go work it back to what Harry mentioned there. I'm going to get back to the Julio thing, but my point, you talked about Tom sounding like he may have had a little cold there or may have had an illness. And part of me wonders, how sick would Tom Brady have to be for him not to play? Because let's be honest, guys, we've had some Bucs fans that have been out here since week 8 talking about sit Tom down. Let's try something new. Let's see if we can get this thing going. If Tom sits out with a cold for one game, and they start playing Gabbert and Kyle Trask is activated, and then a completely new offense is called because Byron Leftwich is calling the offense that head coach Todd Bowles actually wants to happen, and the Bucs win 35-3. it makes a hard case for bring Tom Brady back in a week later. All of a sudden, the Buccaneers find their offense in 2022 because the defense is buying in, because the offense is playing legit, and defense is locking it up, backing them up. And, I'm just going to go ahead and say that. So, I mean, it's funny you should say that, Harry, because I was thinking the moment you said that Tom sounded like he had a cold, I'm thinking really that would be the only way, shape, or form you could ever sit the greatest of all time. And if you let Blaine Gabbert come in here and have a 35-point day and the defense shuts the other team out, how do you make an argument for a 17.6 points per game average offense quarterback to come back in a week later when the season's on the line?
You know what? Maybe people are misconstruing what I'm saying. I'm not saying to bench Tom Brady.
I'm not saying that either.
I'm talking about pulling him out for not even a whole series, a play or two. Put a wrinkle in there. You know what? There's a thing called the Wildcat. There are things that you have two very fast running backs you can run direct snaps to. You want to confuse a team? Line Tom Brady up in the A slot, in the A gap, all the way on the
don't
outside.
Throw it to him, but don't throw it to him.
They tried to do that. And I know for a fact that Brady called that play. He wanted the ball because you could see on the replay the first time they tried it that the defense didn't even cover him. But they're not a creative offensive staff. Understand where you're coming from, Harry, but you're creative.
Yeah, but Peter, if your quarterback can't roll out, if your quarterback is not capable of running design rollouts with play action to throw the football, you have to be a little bit more creative. You have to get up with the times. You have to run jet sweeps. You have to be
Harry,
creative with your offensive play calling, and they're not. It's very vanilla.
My point is, when you have literally the greatest of all time, and I mean, some fans in history when Joe Montana was with the Chiefs, or when you had, Steve Young with what you could say, oh, he's the greatest of all time. We literally have, statistically speaking, the greatest of all time at quarterback. I think you have an offensive coordinator who was intimidated by the greatest of all time. Then you have a defensive-minded head coach who's intimidated by the offensive coordinator, who's intimidated by the greatest of all time. And then you have all three of them who are intimidated by Bruce Arians at the top, who's behind the one-way mirror at the front office in the second floor of One Buck Place, the Advent Health Training Facility. That's been the chasm or the breakdown in this entire 2022 Buccaneers team. I believe that you do not know who's afraid of who, because Harry, you're right. They did it with Connor last night on 4 plays. And Collinsworth and Tirico even said, this is the reason why you run this, because it takes a guy out of the equation, a guy who's literally doing nothing but handing the ball off. You go direct snap to a running back. You make the defense play honest. Now you've put an extra man in play.
On a quick snap, too. On a quick snap.
But you think Tom Brady is going to want to run that on a quick snap, because it takes him completely out of the equation, and only time he wants to run it is when it proves out that he can get a pass thrown to him, and then the play later he gets a pass thrown to him, and he trips a guy because he slipped.
No. What's wrong with making a tackle eligible? Look, man, that play that they ran 3 consecutive times right up the right guard, okay, it did absolutely nothing.
You're running towards J.J. Watt. How much sense does that make at the end of the day?
Oh, he stinks. But anyway,
what
I'm trying to say is
worse last night.
Look, but here you want to keep defenses really, really honest. Mm-hmm. That's when you take your right tackle and you make them eligible. Forget the fact when I said run play action because the tight end would be open. Ray, let me ask you a question. You played the game like I did. How open do you think a right tackle is going to be if he's just slipping behind the linebackers, lumbering around? There wouldn't be anybody around him for 10 yards.
Well, first off, you got to figure out who your right tackle is going to be, because at this point,
don't make Buccaneers 2022
team, you don't know who it's going to. Well, from play to play, it's Tristan Wirfs, or it's going to be, if Wharton's going to move over, or you're going to have Wells in there getting injured. I mean, but no, I see what you're saying, and I think that's the problem. Is I think that you've got a guy this offense has been working for me for 23 years. Call Coach McDaniel; he'll tell you this thing works. And you got Byron Leftwich, who's like, okay, I'm buying in. I got the no risk and no biscuit philosophy, but now I bought into the greatest of all time, so we're going to do this. Guys, you don't see Coach. I've never seen, guys, have you ever seen a defensive, and Buccaneers fans, we've known defensive-minded coaches, John McKay, Lehman Bennett, Tony Dungy, the greatest of all time at defensive-minded coach, greater than Todd Bowles. Even if Todd Bowles stays for a few more years, he's got to win his own Super Bowl before you even make an argument, because Tony Dungy changed the entire philosophy and the entire makeup of this entire organization in just a 5-year span. But you've never seen a defensive-minded coach that had a defense that was feeding, stopping, up 3-0 before the halftime, that goes for it it 3 consecutive times on the same 1-yard draw play that's not successful and turns the ball over at midfield. If anybody, callers out there or messages, if you can convince me, I'll down the rest of this bottle of Fireball right now. I got it right here. I will drink the rest of this thing in one shot. If you can convince me that Todd Bowles really was the one who made those calls on that play,
I think he did,
was happy.
I think he did. He wasn't
dropped that
happy.
F-bomb because he was happy?
I think no, he dropped that F-bomb because he was disappointed in it, because that is right up his avenue. And again, I've been the one who's been supporting him. I can't see Leftwich wanting to make those play calls, or even Tom Brady. I don't know who's calling the plays. It's the God-blessed water boy. And by the way, I'm going to correct you about the best defensive coordinator of all time. God rest his soul. His name was Buddy Ryan.
Yeah, well, Buddy Ryan was
best
definitely
defensive
great.
mind coach.
Okay.
Coach.
He could also be in the conversation.
But could you imagine him running this defense with the speed that they have? I'll never forget what Buddy Ryan one time, and he said it about the best football team ever assembled, and that was the 84 and 85 Chicago Bears. Just my opinion. But he said this perfectly. He says, there's teams that can get pressure on a quarterback with a 4-man front. Well, we're just not good enough. If I got to send 8, I'm going to send 8. I am not going to let someone pick us apart or run on us. That was the best quote I ever heard a coach say. We're not good enough. And he was being a smart ass saying it. So I'm going to send all 8 of my studs after your quarterback. If you get it off, you're going to pay, because I'll tell you what, that quarterback was going to hurt. But could you imagine this team with a Buddy Ryan type of mentality?
Well,
Nasty,
I tell you right now, let's go out to the comments here really quick. I don't want to neglect these guys. Misador says, are you missing the Chicagoland? It's a balmy -4 tonight before wind chill below.
Yeah, no, it's okay, bud. I'll pass.
Hello, Peter. Hello, Harry. Hello, brother, dude, says Troy Polamalu. Hi, Greek and Little Pete. I'll be at Whiskey Wings on Sunday. I'll bring my uncle with me. Very cool. Appreciate you. If there's whiskey, race frisky.
Ooh, yeah.
That's good. Misador says you have Eagles fans, Bears fans, and both Lions fans. There you go. Who cares about the wings and food? I just want to go see Danielle. Well, get up there, I guess, if she's up there. You would be that way there, Troy. Honestly, you would be that way. Let's go out to Misador. Brady has sold his arm sponsorship to Ragu because that arm is looking like a noodle. Wow, that's ouch. Ray, you better have that half shirt on next week. No, please do not do
How
that.
about you?
No.
Oh, I got you, Harry. Harry, I have to.
How about you?
Ray, if you wear your half shirt, they're undefeated with the half shirt. And Ray, we'll put you on the dancing floor over there, and we'll have you doing the Opad belly dance.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're also no.
That's the sprinkler.
At all, no sprinkler. By the way, playoff beard in effect. 1-0. Just saying. Let's see. Burns is a stud. David says, I'm starting to wonder about Todd Bowles and his defensive calling too. We almost watched another third string, first time starting quarterback almost outsmart our defensive coordinator, head coach, and he's supposed to be one of the best. Tell you what, great segue here. Let's get out to Todd Bowles and his thoughts here on the win versus the Cardinals on the evolution of sports talk television. Here we go.
Total effort in the second half, especially the fourth quarter. Defense getting stops and the offense cashing in and timely plays. Seemed like we played better in the fourth quarter. If we can transfer that to the other 3, we'll be pretty consistent. But it was a hard-fought win. We needed it. We got it, no matter how pretty it looked or didn't look pretty. And, we'll set up for next week.
He's
right. It always means something when you're playing for something at the end of the year. You want to be playing December football. You want to play good December football, and you want to play meaningful games. So next week, they need it and we need it. So it's going to be a good battle.
It is. I mean,
He's right.
You're absolutely right. He is right, Harry.
Yeah, but if they'd have put a fourth quarter in last week against the Bengals, we'd have beat them, and we'd actually be 8-8 right now instead of 7-9.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. And you know what, Ray? You know what the pundits are saying about this past game? Arizona should have won that game. They're the one that let it just slip through their fingers. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. At the end of the day, it's a W. The end.
What's the line for this week, Harry? Do you know the line? What's the line so far? Do you have?
Yeah. What's the over under? What's the line? I heard.
What's my line anyway on this one?
What's the line?
I'll give it to you just a second.
I'm gonna guess that just to be bitches, they're gonna say it's the Panthers by 1 to start off.
No, Tampa Bay's favored by 3 because it would be a pick'em game, but they're trying to get you to bet the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they're offering no juice. And Ray, you know what that is, right? No juice has something to do with the vig, but that means they're trying to get you to bet them. So the game's probably going to go off Tampa Bay minus 2.5. And by the way, you ready? The over and under. This is how offensive this team is. Both of them, 39. 39. Let me repeat it. In good weather, that's going to be your total over and under. It's going to be 39.
That says Buccaneers to me.
Well, and I'll give you another statistic here, guys. The Bucs.
Sounds like another 16 or an 18-point game. Come on, guys.
Here you go. 0-7 when opponents score more than 16 points. That's how valuable this defense is. When the defense,
that's one way to look at it, Pete.
when the defense holds them under 16 points and the offense gets more, they're 7-1. So it's really simplistic at the end of the day. Your defense basically has to stand on their head and stop the running game, and your offense has to give you something.
Yeah, but
can you imagine if your offense could score 24 points a game?
Well, that's just it, because Perry was saying that's one way to say it, because really what you're saying is there, because our offense is only averaging 17.3 points a game. So obviously we have to hold them under 16 points. But I mean, I think that you go back to the way the Panthers beat us in Carolina earlier this season when PJ Walker got off, and of course the Buccaneers just did not show up, and Mike Evans dropped that 50-yard touchdown that would have put us up early in the game. Not to blame Mike for that loss. I'm just saying, the momentum went out of that balloon, or the air went out of that balloon really quick. But I mean, if you're saying 39 points, the over and under, I think if it's an under game, the Bucs win that defensive struggle. And I think we hold the Panthers down and we end up winning that thing.
All right, we're going to segue this right into the over under a little bit before I have to go. You guys ready? That over and under right now is 39.5, and it's going to trend to go down. Here's an offensive juggernaut. The Cleveland Browns at the Washington Commandos. That's 40 points. Okay, it's a half a point more.
Wow.
Okay, I'm not ready. You ready for this? Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. That's a pretty big offensive juggernaut, correct? 36.5. The New Orleans Saints at the Eagles. They're predicting that to be 44. I get it. Two teams that can play defense. How about the Cardinals at the Falcons? The battle of the Balcups. They even have a higher over-under at 41 points. The Chicago Bears at the Detroit Lions, that's not fair because neither team can play defense, as you know, and that's going to be 51. But that's going to be the highest over-under for the week. The point I'm trying to drive at, really, guys, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, you're competing with Cleveland and Washington for totals of over and unders. That's what this team has been relegated to. Let me tell you something. It's not just the Buccaneers that are offensively challenged. That team they're playing is kind of challenged offensively as well.
Agree. And on that note, I know you want to get out of here, but let's go ahead and leave off with this. You were talking about Buddy Ryan. Well, of course, his son here, the former coach of the New York Jets, with some reason I can't remember his name.
Rex
Ryan.
First off, I got to say, I've seen Tom Brady. I've coached against him more than any coach in the history of this game. He said this on ESPN's Get Up. This is the worst I've ever seen Tom Brady play ever, and they won the game somehow. He also says Tom Brady was awful in this game. He couldn't hit anything. He almost played like a quarterback that, number one, doesn't want to get hit and has no faith in his offensive line and is not accurate. Shannon Sharp on Skip and Shannon on Fox Sports 1 also said basically the same thing. But it is becoming more increasingly obvious to anybody that really studies the game and knows the game that Tom Brady is afraid to get hit. Also, they said, and this would be Shannon, at some point in time, we got to say a lot of the offense's problems is Tom Brady's fault, added Sharp. Tom Brady looks bad. Is that a fair assessment by Ryan and Sharp on Brady and the way he's played for the Bucs in this offense this year?
You want the politically correct?
No, I want the answer, and I don't care about being politically correct. Tell me what you think about the way Brady's playing, and is Ryan and Sharp off base on this?
They're not off base because they're calling it the way they're seeing it. They're calling it the exact way that I'm seeing it. However, with that being said, it's not his fault. Okay, he's limited. I've already alluded to the fact, I've actually told everybody, you've never seen the guy roll out. He's limited on what he can do. What he's really good at is stepping up in the pocket, step left, step right, step up. And he's unable to do that. Yes, he's afraid to take the hit. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to tell you this. If Blaine Gabbert was QB1 right now with this offensive line, the division would already be locked up. It's just not that he's a better quarterback. Hold on, let me finish. It's not that he's a better quarterback. He's more mobile. The end. That's just my opinion. Ray?
Okay. All right.
I'll agree with you, Harry, but I'll say I believe that they could possibly have another win or two because of the fact that the offense would be called differently. It would be called to have Blaine Gabbert at quarterback and not so much Tom Brady. Let me tell you guys what. I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't know this to be true. But I see Tom going to the sidelines, and I see him standing over the offensive linemen, and I see him talking to the guys, and in some cases yelling at the guys. Now, I'm going to tell you it's one of two things for me. One, which I don't think it is, Tom Brady's a total bitch. And that being that he's over there yelling at the guys because he's afraid of getting hit. I don't think that's the case. I think that the case is the success going back to the New England Patriots when Bill Belichick and the Patriots were always able to find these keepers at third and fourth round, these offensive linemen and the centers that stayed with Tom for 25 years and they love him. I think Tom Brady plays based on markers. He goes up there and he tells all the linemen, 53 is to Mike, 43 is to Jack, whatever. Watch this. And he gives them markers. And when he hikes the ball and takes a step back, he looks at the five offensive linemen and he sees where the markers are going. He's looking to see that the five guys are picking up the markers he called. If they pick up their markers, he feels comfortable to stay in the pocket and throw the pass. Again, Harry, because you're right, he's not going to be elusive at all and gets outside the pocket. I think that this offensive line, because of Ryan Jensen and Ali Marpet and Kappa and the injury to Wells now and then, Wirfs and then, Donovan Smith, I think this offensive line is unable to attain those markers that Tom Brady needs to feel comfortable in a pocket. And that's making him pull the ball down, throw it quick, get rid of it, because he also will not take sacks, not just because he doesn't want to get hurt, because he realizes how a sack on every drive puts you in down and distance, which automatically makes the drive unsuccessful. I think these offensive linemen are unable to attain these markers that Tom Brady requires to be comfortable in the pocket. Thus, the offense has problems. That's why I say if you had Blaine Gabbert in here, Blaine doesn't have those markers. You'd have Byron sending in the plays. Blaine would just execute the plays, and possibly there'd be more success, but I don't know that to be fact.
Well, let me ask you this one question.
And to back that up, and I know, Harry, you got to get going, but Brady ranks toward the bottom of the league in both passing yards per attempt, 6.2, and air yards per an attempt, 3.6, while getting the ball out of his hands an average of 2.2 seconds, which is tied with Trevor Lawrence and Kyler Murray for the fastest in the league among quarterbacks who have started 10 games or more this season. These numbers could suggest that Brady isn't holding the ball long enough to push the ball down the field consistently.
And that's going to bring my point up right here. You say he's not afraid to take a sack? Bro, when's the last time you seen him take one into the chin where he's actually stepping into the throw to try to make that play? Look, I can handle an interception when your quarterback is trying, when he's got the pressure in his face. He folds like a house of cards every time anything gets by his centers or down anything past the offensive line. If he sees some guy coming unimpeded, he's not even attempting to step up and throw the football. Not even close.
Now, one of those interceptions
at all.
Now, Harry, one of those interceptions last night was actually because he got hit as he was throwing it, so the ball ended up going short. And it's not because he's afraid to take a hit. I mean, the guy, obviously, he's 102 years old and he's got a future at Fox, so he doesn't want to mess up the melon, doesn't want a Tua Tagovailoa it. But I'm saying is that,
Tua's got his new name. You know that.
What, too soon? Too soon?
No, Tua turned the ball over.
Well, not only that, but he's also in concussion protocol. So,
oh, no. Okay, my bad. My bad.
Concussion protocol. I think
Tua took another hit, Ola.
Yeah,
Tua took another hit, Ola.
He's pretty much done. Harry, I know you got to run. Should Tua be done for the year? And
Tua shouldn't play football. I said this when he took that hit. I mean, come on, man. I mean, everybody remember this look? I mean, seriously, everybody remember that? He never should have played again. It's a shame what the Miami Dolphins are doing. It really is. I just, God forbid some. Yes, Ray.
Now, with that being said, here's where I'm going to go. Here's where I'm going to paint.
I'm throwing gang signs. He was putting gang signs up.
Listen, here's why I paint the picture. If he is done for his career, possibly for the year, and maybe for retires, does this open up the door for Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Go. Just go at this point.
God. Look, man, I got to go.
Look, I'm not
Harry. I got to go. I'm not speculating with this. I am so tired.
That's what we do here on the Sports Web. We speculate. This is all about speculation.
Ray, Peter, look, I'm a prognosticator. Oh, yeah, I like that fireball. I'm a prognosticator. I am a person that doesn't like to hypothecate. Okay, that's a Leo word. I'm
Leo.
not. I don't hypothesize.
You can get arrested in 4 states for doing that.
I know, really.
Jesus.
Hey, I got a hand check. They're not down here. Okay.
Shut up!
Listen, I'm Harry the Greek. You can see us this week, game day, at Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, myself, and possibly even a special guest to come tickle Ray's fancy a little bit.
Oh, jeez.
And we're going to have a little bit of fun. Shots are on Peter Blake. Just make sure you come down and mention the Sports Web, and Pete's got everybody's drinks. Just like Fat Mike did up in Chicago with Fred Hubner. Anyway,
you're absolutely. This is what you deserve for that.
This guy sucks.
That's what
you can catch me on 1252 Sports on the over-under. Maybe on Sunday, I'll tell you what, it's not going to be the over-under, but yes, you're still going to get the Greeks picks. It's going to be a great pregame show. Love the fact I'm going back up to my stomping grounds up at Tarpon Springs. We're going to go hang out with the Greeks and the rest of the Greeks.
Love it. There you go. Tampa Bay. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. Thanks a lot for your time, my friend. All right.
Ray, you got McDonald's. I'm driving.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You guys need a carpool because you better be down there, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy.
Oh, I'm there already because Danielle's going to be there. I want to see Danielle, not because she's hot, but because she delivers it.
Okay. All right.
Lord, have mercy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Get you out of here. We'll go to the two shot right here. Mr. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. Open phone line if you want to call up and talk about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I feel like anytime I have guests on here, you guys don't think you can call in. You can. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Best of the Bay, Mr. Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy. Let's go back out to these comments here. Let's not ignore the fact that Kyle Rudolph actually was on the field. Not sure what he was doing, but he was there. According to Pro Football Focus, not much. He wasn't doing much at all because he had the lowest 41.8.
This guy sucks.
And, he's been one of the most disappointing factors, one of the most disappointing pickups by Jason Light. You saw Russell Gage yesterday show up. That was impressive, right?
You noticed Kate Otten's getting a start, right? First-year guy out of Washington State, University of Washington. And, Cam Brate, Mr. Dependable, Harvard grad. I mean, you love Cam and what he's done to this team. Of course, he had the concussion issues earlier this year. But I think Kyle Rudolph, that was you're losing Rob Gronkowski. And that's like, the house is burning down. Call the fire department. So they're looking, what are we going to do at tight end? We got to keep Tom happy. And they go and get Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph's a great guy. He's had a pretty good career. Hasn't been here, but I do like the fact that at least I saw him getting in on blocks on Sunday. So I'm on Christmas, yesterday on Christmas. So, what he might do, maybe he doesn't catches 2 balls all season, but maybe when the playoffs get here, should the Bucs get there, which I think we hope they will, we think they will, that all of a sudden Kyle Rudolph, he's your player of the game come the wild card weekend against those Dallas Cowboys.
Well, and I tell you right now, this goes back to the Gronk report, which is reported. Of course, Todd Bowles confirmed it that the Bucs have been talking to Gronk. Gronk contacted the Bucs on Thanksgiving. Turns out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers actually had conversations with Gronk, says Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, over the course of the past weeks and months, actually going all the way back to training camp just to see if he was possibly going to unretire and come back to the team. What we learned is that it's not going to be this year. Gronk is not going to come back and play for the Bucs this year. He was retired for now. But certainly, from my understanding, the door is open for 2023. Rappaport continues. Of course, we talked Tom Brady, a free agent at the end of the year. I know the Bucs want him back, but there's a possibility of him going somewhere else. If he doesn't retire, I wouldn't be surprised if Gronk followed him wherever he went. Obviously, that is something we're keeping an eye on in the off season. I think it depends on how the Bucs finish at the end of the day. But again, Brady's not making all the throws, whether it's the offensive line, whatever it is. But Gronk coming back to the Bucs this year was a major loss. And who knows, if you can get back Brady for another year, improve the offensive line, and bring back Gronk, I think you're improved on the offense. What do you say?
Well, see, as a person who tries to figure out if I was a branding agent for Rob Gronkowski, or I was Tom Brady's branding agent, and I said, hey, Rob, look, we know that Tom's not going to be in Tampa Bay. I'm not saying this is the case. I'm just saying we know Tom's not going to be in Tampa Bay in 2023. He's probably going to be here, 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 or here. And you're going to want to be there, 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 or there. So it behooves you not in week 10 or week 12 or 15 not to say, hey, I kind of wanted to come back, but I'm waiting until next year, so that when next year gets here and Tom shows up elsewhere, you can actually go there as well. Because remember, he wasn't under contract, so no one will have to give the Bucs any compensation, but it looks good for his brand. He can tell the people of of the USAA Insurance and people of Tampa Bay, hey, look, I was going to come back all the time. I said I would, but I didn't say it was Tampa Bay. But there's also part of me, the other side of me, that says, well, if Tom does stay for 2023 because he doesn't want it to end like this in Tampa, and he knows Jason Light will bring in the offensive line help, will continue to dig into a team and give you something if the Bucs should decide that that's the way to go. One more year with Tom at quarterback and Rob comes back. Again, there's a lot of parties at play here. So really, who knows?
Yeah, let's go out to Todd Bowles and his thoughts on not only his defense, but also Tom Brady and the interceptions. Here we go.
They were tough. They got a lot of different looks up front and show a lot of different looks all around. Vance does a great job of moving those guys around and making you see something that's not there, and it changes every week. We knew it was coming. We just had to get a hat on the hat. Knew they were going to make some plays, but we knew we had a chance to make some too. No, I just think we had 2 bad balls thrown.
There you go. So, Arizona not necessarily doing anything exotic, if you will, with Vance Joseph being the defensive coordinator. And again, the player's not Marco Davis. It's Marco Wilson. My bad. I see you, Troy. Correct me there. But your thoughts on Todd Bowles and those comments? I mean, they kind of knew what was coming, trying to disguise the coverages, and still you're having bad throws by Brady.
See, going back to Todd Bowles, the thing that scares me about Todd is that if this 2022 season, however it ends, and I think every Buccaneer fan, let me first of all lead with this. If you call yourself a Buccaneers fan and you don't have still that hope in your heart and that feeling that the Buccaneers could be out there in 57 in Arizona, you're not really a Buccaneers fan. Because let me tell you, from a Buccaneers fan, it's been here since 76. We can analyze, we can proselytize, we can whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're not actually constantly coming up ways, I'm talking about going back to 80, 81, 82, 85, 87, 88, 91, 92. If you're not taking off both your shoes and use your fingers and toes, try to figure out how the Buccaneers can mathematically make the playoffs, you're not really a true Buccaneers quarterback. I'm just going to say that up front, because the fact of the matter is that we're still hoping this Buccaneers team is out there in 57. Somehow they get hot at the right time after they win the South when they beat the Panthers this week. My only worry is that when all this implodes, if it did implode, is that everybody wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I don't want to lose the fact that Todd Bowles is one of the best defensive minds in the game and still may be able to be a great head coach if he's not taking his cues from Uncle Bruce and his cousin Byron Leftwich and the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, who are actually calling the offense that he would not call by going forward on second, third, and fourth down with the same running play that wasn't successful, that caused him to drop the F-bomb, because at the end of the day, up 3-0 with a defense is feeding, he would have punted the ball deep and played defensive-minded football. Why? Not because it guarantees you the win, but it makes all 53 on the sideline, or maybe 52 because Tom wouldn't have been in with it, but the other 52 would have said, yeah, that's my coach. He's willing to do what it takes to win the game. He's defensive-minded, but he understands how to play this game. Because I'm telling you, Bucs fans, if you looked at that, we're up 3-0, our defense is feeding, and they run it on second down, run it on third down, run it on fourth down, the same play all 3 times for no gain. And if you're telling me you think that was a defensive-minded coach making those calls, I'm going to tell you you're full of shit.
All right, fair enough. Good stuff there. And let's get back to this comment, because it's going to bring up my next point. You're going to stay around for a little bit here?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, good. I'm starting to wonder. Absolutely. I'm starting to wonder about Todd Bowles and his defensive calling. We almost watched another third string, first time starting quarterback almost outsmart our defensive coordinator and head coach. He's supposed to be one of the best. Now, this in care of JoeBucksFan.com. They wrote this today. Todd Bowles has strayed from his all-out blitzing style. The Bucs led the NFL in blitz percentage last season at 45.4%. This season, they're down to 28.4%, ranking 10th in the league. That's a significant drop-off, especially when considering the Bucs were at 39% for 2020. And with the Jets, Todd Bowles' teams 15 and 18 blitz more than the Bucs do now, including seasons of over 40% in Arizona as a defensive coordinator. Bowles was known for extraordinary blitz numbers as well. Is it the fact that you're missing a Shaq Barrett, you have all these injuries, so you're not necessarily can't run the defense that you want to run because you don't necessarily have the parts, because the parts right now are not available?
That's like saying when my wife wore tighter jeans, she had more guys try to feel her ass. When the Buccaneers were averaging 30 points a game, listen, Joe Bucs fan. When the Buccaneers were averaging 30.7 points a game, number 2 in the NFL, or number 1 last year, number 2 in 2020. Of course, your defense was able to blitz more because you had more leads, you could take more chances, and you could lock them down harder. But when you're scrambling to get 17 points a game, my wife took those tight Jordache on. Now she's wearing some loose Levi's, and guess what? Nobody's wanting to squeeze her ass anymore because her ass doesn't look as good. Let's be simple here. Everyone could dig into the facts and try to figure out a story. We can all look at something and look at it from 7 ways to Sunday to come up with a narrative. But no, the reason why, and Shaq Barrett not being here does hurt, but the reason why these Buccaneers aren't blitzing as much is because we're not playing with the lead anymore. So we can't blitz. We have to try to protect the game close to try to keep in it.
It's a great point. It's absolutely a great point here. Tampa Bay Ray, best of the Bay. Now, also, I want to go back to Joe Bucs fan because they had another pretty good article here talking about Todd Bowles and playoff Lenny. And Bowles admitted his running between the tackles was the motivation. He's not going. He got going early, so it was kind of an inside game because it was more of a power game that way. He showed some positive runs even after they were hitting him, so we left him in there for a while. A lot of people calling for Rashard White to be the starter, but it certainly seems like at the end of the day, Bowles wants Fournette to be the inside runner, and White doesn't fit that. But the problem for me is that offensive line, in my opinion, is too finesse to have that inside running style. That's the reason why you're struggling with your running game. Am I onto something?
I think you are, but let's go back to last night's game. What was the best run in last night's game? And I watched it again today. The best run was Lenny Fournette gets it outside. Our left tackle, Wells, was it Wells or was it? Well, no, it was Warden at the time.
Yes.
Pulls out, gets downfield and plows the field, right? Grades the road, gets out downfield.
Yards. Yeah, it was more
50 yards.
Right, about 43 yards. It was like a dump off. It wasn't a run, but you're exactly.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was Tom's pitch out, right? But yeah, my point is that I don't think the Buccaneers not necessarily they had to do the pitch out because earlier in the game they tried to do the pitch and that didn't work because Tom had to commit to the defense was able to. Tom turns to pitch the ball, so the defense committed. Tom holds the ball for an extra half second, then pitches it to Lenny, but he gets it outside. So you're right. I think technically it was a pass play. I mean, because it was a forward pass, but this whole running between the tackles thing, I mean, they'd like to be able to. I mean, 32 teams in the NFL would like to be able to run between the tackles. That's the way. If you're running between the tackles successfully, you're winning every game.
It's what Leonard Fournette does. He's an inside runner. He's not an outside guy. That's the reason why you have to incorporate White in this rushing game because he can do those things outside. But at the end of the day, I also think he can run between the tackles. I think he can be an inside runner. You just have to give him a chance. And if by all accounts Fournette is hurt with this injury, I think the Bucs seriously have to consider looking at a Rashard White and a Keyshawn Vaughn to give them more carries because you're just not sure if Fournette can hold up, in my opinion. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to the comments here. My mother, my beautiful mother, former agent, or next agent here, watching the best sports talk show in the Tampa Bay area. The Sports Web on Amped Up Sports, The Hub, and I Love St. Pete. They're going to the Super Bowl. Nothing is going to stop Tom Brady. This is her talking to us. And, of course, 1252 Chicago Sports. She throws that out there. She's getting just more intelligent with this whole social media thing. Peter, meetings tomorrow at 10 as usual. You know, you saying that makes me think that I actually work with you and you are trolling me.
This guy sucks.
Because there's not anybody else that would know that besides somebody that's my manager. Man, that Epiphany dive has to be cold. I hope you're right, Harry, because we had Hicks and Vita on the field against Cleveland, and they had 189 yards rushing on us, and it's been hit and miss. That is the matchup that you have to win at the end of the day. I don't think Sam Darnold's going out there and throwing the ball 30 or 40 times to win. They're going to try to run the ball with Deontay Foreman, of course, Chuba at the end of the day, and you have to stop this team for the run. You have to make them one-dimensional. I am putting the onus on making them one-dimensional and forcing Sam Darnold to beat you in this game.
You had to like the way the secondary showed up yesterday.
Yes.
You had Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy-Bunting, Antoine Winfield was surprised having him in the game.
Sure.
And then you start to go, wow. God, I wish there was still hope for Shaq Barrett to come back this season. That's not going to happen, but we're still hoping that Ryan Jensen can be back on the other side. But the secondary, the way they showed up yesterday, because here's the thing. we always had Christian McCaffrey's number until he was in San Francisco, and they had a dynamic offense and other weapons. And I still think that the Panthers are suffering from the fact that they don't have the amount of weapons that a San Francisco has, or maybe the Falcons have now, or maybe the Saints are bringing in with Drake London. But they're still going to have, Sam Darnold's still going to be able to pitch that biscuit around. So, we're going to stop Hubbard. We want to stop Foreman. We've done that before. Remember, it's almost like Monty Kiffin's but don't break defense. Keep everything in front of you. They can have a little bit of rushing between the 20s. We'd lock it up inside the 20s. The red zone defense has to be strong, but also don't be fooled, because Sam Darnold, it's his 60th year or 50th year in the league. He's been around the block enough to know how to throw a deep pass. And if the Buccaneers tried too hard to stop that run and commit those secondary players up to stop that run, then Sam Darnold could hit him more down the sidelines for one of those toe drag swag passes, and that would be the kind of thing that would break Buccaneers back if the offense isn't getting off.
And I thought SMB, who's been highly criticized on this show from Troy Polamalu, played well at Pro Football Focus here. Top 5 defense, Keanu O'Neal, 78.8, SMB, 74.2. The reason why I mention him, he shut down DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins had nowhere to go, no space at all, no big plays, and he's one of the top wide receivers in this league. And SMB, for the majority of the game, shut him down. Levante David, 70.0. JTS playing better. You saw pressure there, getting to the quarterback.
Yes.
That's encouraging, 72.9. And Logan Ryan, 72.6. The bottom 5 of the defense, Devin White, 43.4. Nacho, 51.2. Sanat, 58.7. Logan Hall, 61.3, and Edwards, 62.9. Going back to it, SMB shutting down players. Carlton Davis nearly getting an interception. It was a shame you don't get that, but this defense last night, they did get after him, and they also caused some turnovers, which really turned the tide at the end of the day.
Yeah, you saw why the Bucs gave Carlton Davis that contract. It's because the fact of the matter is that cat was stepping every time they wanted to go over the top and go to one of the big pass plays. Carlton wasn't not only there making the coverage, but he may have been off the position, but he was making such a great read. He was coming over the top and slapping the ball away. And sometimes, slapping that ball down and causing that incompletion, you'd like to have an interception, 7 days a week and twice on game day, but sometimes just slapping it away is just as good and causing that not to be a good play.
I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, we'll get more into the Bucs. We'll take your phone calls, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web. Keep it locked.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
At Whiskey Wings, we dish out more than just great food. Come in for a side of the good times with live entertainment, ice-cold drinks, and a rockin' game room your whole family can enjoy. Fire up the fun at Whiskey Wings.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about in case you missed it. uwager.lv, promo code SportsWeb. If you're wagering on the National Football League, the NBA, the NHL, put in that promo code SportsWeb. Once again, uwager.lv.com. Of course, the big time announcement tonight, we will be live from Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs, 40737 US Highway 19 North. And if you come out there, not only can you be a part of the evolution of Sports Talk Television, which means say what you want about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, say what you want about your favorite NFL team, you got the great opportunity to get 4 $50 gift cards. They're giving it away. And then on top of that, a 50-inch television. What's better than that? Great food there at Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs. And of course, for the kids, they got a game room there. So get out there. Once again, Whiskey Wings in Tarpon Springs. And then, of course, this segment brought to you by Spring Hill Trailer and Equipment Repairs, 985-570-7269. Again, Spring Hill Trailer and Equipment Repairs, 985-570-7269. Let me get out to Tampa Bay. Ray Kennedy right there. You're going to have that second shot. You're going to be in the game room. We want to put you there because you're a fun guy. And I know you want to interview some Buccaneer fans and also some NFL fans.
I'm so happy because we've been trying to put this together now. This is the second year in a row. We started out last season, but last time we did a full pregame, halftime, and postgame show was Super Bowl 55, and we've been wanting to do this since then. And not only for those who can't, if you're not here in Florida, if you're watching from around the country, we've got people watching in Germany or Japan, or we got fans all over the world following the Sports Web here. Tune in, because even if you're here in the Tampa Bay area and you can't make it out to Whiskey Wings, I don't know why you wouldn't, to have some of those delicious wings and have a party, have a great time with a lot of Bucs fans. But we're also bringing you the best. Well, actually, we're the only outlet bringing you a pregame, half, and postgame show. There's literally nobody else in the world bringing that to you, Bucs fans. So tune in on Sunday. We're going to have a great time. And if you're in the Bay Area, come down to Whiskey Wings, have a great time with us, and grab some of that great food. And I'll take a shot of Fireball if you're buying.
Well, I don't know. I maybe afterwards, if the Bucs clinch the South after they
celebrate,
beat the Carolina Panthers. Now let's go around the NFL a little bit. We talked about it. Tua, his status for the Week 17 matchup against the Patriots is in doubt after the quarterback was once again placed in concussion protocol on Monday via Barry Jackson and the Miami Herald. McDaniel said no one noticed that Tua sustained a hit that it would have caused a concussion. It was something he met with doctors today and discussed some symptoms. With that being said, is there something wrong with the Miami Dolphins and their organization not able to understand when somebody needs to be taken out of the game? And once again, LaShawn McCoy, who's a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Philadelphia Eagle, Buffalo Bill, has gone on record to say Tua should retire after this. Your thoughts on this whole deal with Tua once again being in concussion protocol?
Let me ask you, was it Keanu Neal that took the hit in the first quarter yesterday that went down? They came out and walked him to the sidelines.
I don't think
Keanu Neal. I think was it Neal, or was it Logan? Well, the reason why I say that is because that kid, he took a Buccaneer player, defensive back. He took a hit to the head, and he was on the ground, and he actually grabbed his helmet and went. And I saw the guys talking to him, and I could see the coaches, and I wanted to lean in, and I wanted to hear what the coaches were telling him, because as much as we want to say there's an independent doctor on the sidelines, there's an independent person who doesn't work for either team, who's there for the player's own cause. I can't trust it. At the end of the day, when you're talking about legalized gambling, you're talking about the ratings, you're talking about a team like the Dolphins. Who's their backup quarterback? I know.
Teddy Bridgewater at the end of the day.
Bridgewater.
This Dolphins team, their offense is slowed down because at the end of the day, it's all about the offensive line. They have both of their tackles go out. You sign Eric Fisher off the street. Even if you get one of those tackles back, they're not 100%. And that's the reason why not only Tua has struggled, but this offense has struggled. And I got to tell you right now, if I'm Tua, I'm out for the year, and I feel like the Dolphins at the end of the day are done without Tua. Even with Bridgewater, even with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're not going anywhere without Tua, and it's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, it's about health of a player because he's your future quarterback if you want him to play. So I get it. You have high expectations, and there was a possibility to make the playoffs, but it comes down to concussion protocol. And if he's in it again, there's no way he could see the field again, in my opinion. I can't see it.
Are the Jets going to move on from Zach Wilson? I mean, is White the guy? And if he is, are the Jets going to entertain offers this offseason to trade away the number 2 pick from last year's draft? I mean, I know he's had the problem, and he likes his mom's friends or older women. I know but the guy's got a gunslinger of an arm. But look at what happened to Baker Mayfield. Went from the Browns to the Panthers, and now I think he's found his home with Sean McVay, which I think the rest of the NFC should start to go, because Sean McVay in that offense, especially if Stafford's going to be out now, You give Baker Mayfield an offensive coach like Sean McVay to give him a year or two to develop him, especially if Stafford's back. And I think financially speaking, the Rams have to have Stafford back. But is a Zach Wilson going to be out there? Just like a Tua Tagovailoa, if the Dolphins are ready to move on from him or whatever, don't you think that kid's still going to try to go out there and find a job somewhere else? And if so, how many first-round quarterbacks, top 5 quarterbacks in the next couple of years are we going to see teams go 1 and 2 and done? I mean, it's crazy the way it's satisfying me now. What are you doing for me this year? Like Bucs fans this year, I hate to say it, but we still have a shot at this division, but everybody's pissed off. They want Tom gone. They want Bowles fired. They want an offense. I'm like, hold on a minute, guys. We've went decades without winning our division when it was the NFC Central and now the NFC South. We might be winning winning the division 2 years in a row. As bad as the record may be, the record's not up there on the flag. I still look up, I see 2021, 2022 NFC South champion. Let's slow the roll here. Maybe we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Well, you may be getting ahead of ourselves, but true or false, the Dolphins are a playoff team without Tua.
If Teddy Bridgewater's in there, but the offensive line is still causing problems, I don't know if Teddy has the time, because Teddy's more of a slow droll type of a quarterback in the pocket. I mean, he's got a great arm, but you got to give the kid from Louisville a little bit of time to make the reads. I mean, maybe it's worth a shot at this point, but maybe Tua is your best hope because he can sling that biscuit a little better or a little faster. I don't know.
And I think the answer to the question is no. I don't think they're a playoff team. So maybe New England once again sneaks in there to that playoff chase. Now, somebody that's not going to the playoffs, in fact, he got the pink slip today, that would be Nathaniel Hackett. After 15 to 17 games and getting embarrassed on Christmas, which I can't figure out this team, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's the dysfunction of the offense at the end of the day. 4-11, first year, getting their doors blown off, 51-14 by Baker Mayfield and the Rams with all the injuries they had. And get this, Josina Anderson reports that the Broncos and their candidates could be Dan Quinn, Darrell Bevell, because both of those coaches are familiar with Russell Wilson, Eric Bieniemy, Sean Payton, D'Amico Ryans, and Shane Steichen, and I believe I'm correctly pronouncing his name. But since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970, only 4 coaches have failed to finish their first seasons on the job before today. So you're looking at it, you're thinking, you know what? He's familiar with the Packers. He's able to bring that offense. He's going to do the same thing he did with Aaron Rodgers, and it was a complete and total meltdown by the Broncos. How surprised were you by that situation? And with these coaching candidates, in your opinion, who should it be? I'm going to rule out Sean Payton. I'm going to tell you why. Because the report suggests that Payton is putting together an all-star staff, which includes Vic Fangio, who was fired by the Broncos. I can't see him coming back to that organization.
I think the writing was on the wall. They give Russell Wilson that huge contract. They give Seattle like 15 first-round draft picks to bring the quarterback there. I just think, Pete, the thing that's sad for me is we came up in a time when there was I'll go back even further. We had Wayne Fontes, who left the Bucs and became the Detroit Lions head coach. But we had guys like Marty Schottenheimer, and we had coaches like I'm trying to think of different coaches throughout the years that had chances to win. And back then, coaches may have had a bad year or two here, but you believed in a coach and you believed in their system. But we've gotten now to a point where these quarterbacks are making 1/6 of the salary cap of an entire team, and you give a quarterback which I think it was a mistake giving Russell Wilson that money in the first place. I don't know what Hackett was thinking. I think it was a rebound from the fact that he wasn't going to get Aaron Rodgers to leave Green Bay, so he wasn't going to have his quarterback that he was formerly the OC for. But you got a quarterback now in the Walton family, even though they're full of billions of dollars, they probably could afford to eat that money. Cap-wise, they can't. So now you have to bring a quarterback in, a coach in to satisfy your quarterback. And they end up giving the interim job to the guy who the team made Hackett hire, and they called him a clock consultant because Hackett had some problems in the first couple of games this year with some real bad clock management, which going to Jeff Saturday and even with Coach Todd Bowles in 2022, we've seen a lot of that bad clock management. But you fire a coach because you give a quarterback too big of a contract. And I wonder what do the fans of the Broncos think, that they've got a quarterback who still hasn't shown anything, had a success under Pete Carroll there in Seattle, but hasn't shown anything. And now you're going through coaches because you've got a quarterback in place. You got to try to make him happy. As a football fan of a team, that would not make me happy whatsoever.
No, not at all. And I think he's been the most disappointing aspect, whether the offense has helped him out. But it's so tough because, look, the Broncos are trying to do what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did by getting Tom Brady and learning a new offense. And that's how amazing that season was, even with COVID. You've got a quarterback learning a new offense that's very difficult, and you're able to succeed. You also got Matt Stafford learning a new offense with Sean McVay winning a Super Bowl. So the Broncos thought they could do the same thing, and it failed completely. It was a complete failure. Now, with Sean Payton, and I believe he ends up with the LA Chargers. I put that out there on the over-under on Friday night.
Ooh.
Obviously, Sean Payton is a top dog. My understanding right now is Payton has a high affinity for the Chargers and Cowboys, with the Cardinals being a consideration too. If jobs become available when Denver calls, I expect him to listen, though he historically prefers strong link to GM. So out of that number there, Chargers, Cowboys, or possibly the Cardinals. And here's what all these teams have in common. The Chargers have Justin Herbert, one of the young quarterbacks in the league, definitely a gunslinger, can make things happen. I mean, he's absolutely outperformed Tua at the end of the day with touchdown to interception ratio. The Cowboys, of course, with Dak Prescott, and the Cardinals with Kyler Murray, although he's coming off an injury, so you're not really sure how that's all going to work out. To me, Denver is a far away dark horse here at 4. Even with Russell Wilson, I don't see it happening. I think he chooses the Chargers. Where do you go with Sean Payton?
I think if and when, not if, but when the Bucs win the South, and if they were able to beat, because it's all about matchups in the National Football League. It's not just the Niners are a hard matchup for anybody. We matched up in the first half against the Bengals. They matched up in the second half. We barely matched up against the Cardinals yesterday. But let's not get at the end of the day, we beat the Cowboys in Week 1 there in Dallas, and we did it by running the ball more than passing the ball. But we had a recipe to beat them. Of course, this game, a rematch, the wild card weekend, would be here at Raymond James Stadium. I think if the Buccaneers beat the Cowboys in that wild card weekend, I would all but, if I was laying money down in Vegas, I'd all but lay the mortgage down on Sean Payton being the next Cowboys coach, because I think Jerry Jones is tired of Mike McCarthy, and I think with Sean Payton's ties, having been the former offensive coordinator with those Cowboys, he's already basically stated, without being rude, that he'd love to have that job. Otherwise, got to be the Chargers, because who'd want to take over the Arizona Cardinals? You got DeAndre Hopkins making like $75 million a year. You got Murray, who you can't even get him to watch enough film. They got to put it in his contract. They take it out. The kid just got a brand new contract. I don't think any coach in the National Football League with a body of work would want to take that on, even as a challenge.
It's a good point. Absolutely a good point. I tell you what, let's get back out to the comments. You're exactly right. I mean, Kyler Murray, high paid, but when you have to put a clause in there and then basically you backtrack at the end of the day, it's not a good look. Bears fans only want to talk about the 85 Bears. Like, get over it, bro. That was 100 years ago. It's not 100 years ago.
This guy sucks.
Let me go out to Aaron. Thank you very much, Aaron. Appreciate you. Misa Dort says Father Time is undefeated. Troy again. I will be jumping in the lake to get the cross this year and declare. I don't know. Bucs run the ball on first down up the gut more than any other team in the league, and they average something like 2.2 yards a carry. What's the definition of insanity? It's a great point. We've seen it over and over again, and you don't understand it, because that would be the perfect moment at the end of the day. If a defense is expecting you to run the ball on first down, to go past play action. That's exactly what they did against the Bengals. And once again, you didn't see a lot of that against the Cardinals on Sunday night.
Because a good coach, I think every coach, maybe there's the NFL has a class, like all the rookies, when they come in, they have the rookie symposium where they say, watch out for baby mamas, watch out for how you spend your money, watch out for, don't go for massages at the 4-star hotels and try to pay the girls off your own tab. I think the coaches must have some type of a thing they sit through where the league tells them, look, always running on first down, because if you have a modicum of success, the play action is going to work and it's going to open up the defense, because you see it all over the league. Every team, they run it on first down, and even though they gain 1 yard, the guys calling the game will say, well, they have to do that to keep the defense honest. I don't know. Do they? I mean, why don't you throw screens or throw passes on first down, soften that defense up, and use the pass to establish the run? The Buccaneers' problem is that they're running all these crossing patterns with their receivers running out and across at 5 yards, and the defenses now are figured that out, so they're playing their defenses to stop those short crossing routes, which, by the way, when they keep their defenders short and crossing, also makes it easier to stop that run up the middle, because they're already stopping short to cover the crossing. So you soften that defense up, go long when, but wait, your quarterback's got to trust your offensive line to give him enough time to throw that deep ball. Maybe that's the problem. It is.
On top of it, you have to be accurate enough to be able to throw that deep ball. And Brady, whether it's the offensive line or not, has not done it consistently this year. That's the missing part of it also. Is it the chicken or the egg? Jason says, hello, boys. It's Chasm. I thought you said, okay. All right. Misador, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why hasn't Kyle Trask dressed?
Me.
Can't beat out Blaine Gabbert. And you put this point out there that you feel like he was overdrafted as a second-round pick, and it's a valid suggestion at the end of the day. He hasn't dressed. Hold on.
Well,
Have a Christmas party Saturday night. Maybe he invited Tom. Laugh out loud. David says, I agree with you, Harry, but do you think with all the controversy that Todd Bowles is going through right now, he wants to be the head coach that benches Brady? That was before. Kyle says Kyle Trask has been listed as an injury or injured throughout the entire season. Not sure why. Jason, hey, can I be okay. Me, Kyle, not injured. He's been listed as inactive. That's essentially a coach's decision. Troy, Marco Davis, his name is Marco Wilson. I just corrected. Florida Gator alum, Peter just making names up. David says the best defensive coach of all time is Monty Kiffin. Roger Shue, Ray, wear the half shirt for good luck. Shut up.
This guy.
Detail King Alvarez says Trask needs a chance, and I love hearing that, but it's not this year, and I'm not sure if it's next year either, especially if Brady decides to come back. And if he can't beat out Blaine Gabbert, I don't know if I have hope for him. I want to. I like the pick at the time, but it's not a very good pick. It doesn't look good. Listening to Bulls speak is like listening to someone who's giving a eulogy. You just feel bad. Me again. Bucs +3. Jason. Okay. Jason again. Okay. Jason again. Okay. Rumor Mill says Rodgers leaves Green Bay. Also, another place I see Brady going is the 49ers or maybe Seattle. Agree with Todd Bowles. Brady, okay. Believe just got to get into the dance and anything can happen. Agree, Ben, with that. Troy, show up on Sunday in my Greek hood. See what happens to your troll ass. You go on camera live.
Okay, throw down.
Christopher Cole says White needs more touches. Agree with that. Troy Polamalu, see you at work tomorrow. Roger, no, you won't because you don't work with us.
It's Logan Ryan. Right, yeah.
26 is Logan Ryan, and Roger says, Troy, come and see me on Sunday. Troy, again, I'll see you guys tomorrow at the meeting. No, you won't.
This guy sucks.
All right, your thoughts on everything that we covered there with I don't know where we went with that. Where were we going? Because I lost track with all the comments here. But Kyle Trask, it goes back to that. If Brady decides to leave, you decide to push reset with a new coach. Is Kyle Trask the guy that you're going with? Are you going after a veteran quarterback? Are you going after a bridge quarterback? Or once again, let's just say you're out in the first round. Do you bring Brady back? Do you go with Blaine Gabbert? I mean, right now on December 26th, Ray Kennedy, you're the GM of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you do?
I was ready to go into this season before Tom announced after 40 days he was coming back. I was ready to go with Blaine Gabbert, Kyle Trask, and if the Bucs could find another veteran out there that want to come in here and compete through camp, maybe. But I thought that, and then when Brady comes back, I thought there's no way they're going to elevate Kyle Trask above Blaine Gabbert because Blaine Gabbert, again, has been under Byron Leftwich and in Bruce Arians' system since going back to Arizona 6 years ago or 5 years ago. So there was no way they're going to elevate Trask.
Tell you what, stand by. Let's go out to Ben Cornett from Las Vegas. Ben, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Go.
Doing tonight.
Doing great, buddy. How you doing?
The Ben Zone.
Thanks, guys. I'm doing okay. Tough to watch last night. Very tough to watch.
Yes.
A win's a win.
A win's a win, and again, the majority of it, and it seems like it always happens on prime time. And it seems like it was a lot like the New Orleans Saints game on Monday Night Football again. You struggle to score points. You struggle to execute. That word has been thrown around a lot. You're still making mental mistakes. You're still not making all your throws. There's no offensive. It's offensive at this point. No creativity at all by Byron Leftwich and his offensive staff. It is hard to watch. And you're down 16-6, and somewhere you're like, how in the world can this team come back? And then once again, you remember that even if Brady is not the same quarterback he was 3 or 4 years ago, he's still Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, he's still Tom Brady. But I mean, again, I don't get it. Why? What is going on? You can't score in the red zone. You missed Julio. I almost caught that pass from Tom Brady. That's how overthrown that ball was.
Yeah.
I mean, the only touchdown we got was Rashad White. That was in the fourth quarter, I believe. That was it.
Yeah.
And Mike Evans, once again, 3 receptions, 29 yards.
Yep.
3 receptions, Peter.
Yeah.
What the?
I don't get it. I can't. I don't understand it. I know how he's in your game plan. I don't know how you're not looking for him. I get it. You got Chris Godwin and the greatness of Russell Gage, who showed up last night. But Mike Evans is your most consistent wide receiver. He is the franchise player that you want. He's a great teammate. The chemistry between both of those players the last couple of years has been phenomenal. What changed this year? Is Evans hurt? Is there hurt feelings? What is going on? Why isn't Brady going to him more? Because I think Evans is open.
Peter, Mike Evans has always been injured. He's played with an injury the last few years.
Right.
So there's got to be something different going on. It can't be the injuries. I mean, yes, they're part of the game, but I don't know. Is it Leftwich? Is it Brady? Do they feel like, if we go to Mike, then they're going to double cover? Peter, there's any quarterbacks in the league that are taller than Mike Evans.
Let me ask you a question. What if Mike Evans, Jason Light drafts him in 2014, Jason Light's first ever draft pick. He's been with this show. Only one longer here, I think, is Devontae and Will Golson at this point, but he's been here since 2014. What if, hypothetically, there is that chasm between Todd Bowles, who's handed the coach of this team because of his defensive brilliance, and Mike Evans just being the stand-up guy that he is, and he is one of the most outstanding stand-up guys. Love the Mike Evans Foundation. Love what he does for victims of domestic violence, what him and his beautiful wife do. One of the best programs of all the Buccaneers, and there's a lot of great ones. What if he realizes that on the other side, Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady are calling this offense that doesn't really agree with what Coach Todd Bowles would want to do, and maybe Mike Evans falls somewhere in the middle. Maybe he became someone's not favorite receiver somewhere along the way. I'm just hypothesizing. If we see him open the way we think we do, they're even throwing 50-50 balls to other receivers. When Mike Evans, if you're throwing a 50-50 ball, that's your guy 7 days a week and twice on game day. What if maybe there's something to be said there? I'm only making this up. I have this on no authority. I'm just saying, what if that could be the case?
Well, Ray, I mean, anything's possible, but I mean, I don't know how you can, all of a sudden just not include your best receiver.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense.
In your gameplay. Yeah, because, again, it's just I go back to what I said just a minute ago. How many cornerbacks or people that cover Mike Evans that are his height or taller? Nobody, really.
Nobody.
Why not use that? Yeah, I mean, you've got such an advantage. You've got a rare wide receiver. He's a rare breed. Wide receiver out there. He's got to be used more. And listen, Tom Brady, another thing, he's got to take the hits. I'm sorry. He's just going to have to stand in the pocket more for plays to develop, because it seems like to me he's either rushing it or he's just, I don't know. But
he is rushing it. I mean, 2.2 seconds, and they've talked about it. And I think, again, it's either the pressure or it's the fact that he doesn't want to take the hits. But we've seen it this year where he has wide open players and he just misses them deep, especially deep. We know he can hit the short pass. We know he can somewhat hit the intermediate pass. But when it comes to those plays down the field for over 20 yards, which has helped this team the last 2 years, he's not able to hit them, and it's changed the offense and made the offense a shell of themselves.
Well, that Julio pass was that was a glaring thing, because not only did he not hit Julio in the end zone there, but he threw it where it was literally uncatchable. I mean, Julio, maybe if he'd have been right there to toe tap at the very sideline, would have gotten it, but Julio was open. He got back of that defender, and he runs the out there in the end zone, and Tom throws the ball. I mean, everyone's going to have a bad throw once in a while, but that just seems to be a microcosm of the problems Tom's been having on those deep balls and so far in 2022.
I get the offensive lines, you're makeshifting it, but still, I mean, if you know that, you're gonna have to take some hits, man. You're gonna have to stand in that pocket. I mean, I know Brady hates to be touched, but at this point, you got to play with what you got. You got to know that. You got to have those plays develop. I'm sorry, but
are you ready to move on from Brady? Because that's what it sounds like to me, and that's okay. I mean, you can have that opinion on this show, even no matter what happens, because there's talk that he wants to come back, and I'm open to him coming back, but you've got to fix some of these things that are wrong, especially offensive play calling. Offensive line has not been good. The injury situation has been out of hand, and of course the distractions, but are you open to bringing back Tom Brady in 2023? Or are you good with moving on with the greatness of Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert or somebody else?
That was a loaded question.
Thank you.
I'm open to it, but the thing is, does Tom want to be open to this? Because you got to understand, like, there's a lot of things going on that's going to happen this offseason.
Yeah.
Our salary cap's not very good.
No.
So he wants to get weapons here. He wants to get an offensive line, but we got to be honest with ourselves. It just depends on what the Bucs can offer him.
Sure.
And I don't think the Bucs can offer him as much as they did the last couple years, in my opinion.
Let me ask Ben. This, Ben. When you sorry to cut you off. When you hear, Rob Gronkowski say, "Well, no, I'm bored, but I'm not. I don't mean to play this year, but I'm open to coming back in 2023." As a person who covers the Bucs in the Ben zone, doing a lockdown job there on Friday nights, and someone who follows the Bucs very closely, when you first heard that, does that sound like? Was your first thought, oh yeah, he could be back here with the Bucs in 2023, or was your first thought, sounds like he's playing a field?
I think he's playing the field, guys. I mean, he wants to get his name out there. Listen, I wouldn't be against bringing him back in because at this point you've got so many injuries. But however, why didn't you just come back?
I don't understand it either. I don't understand why he didn't come back either. I don't get it. I mean, if he comes back, I think this offense is most likely a lot better, right? I mean, would we agree that they're scoring more than 17 points a game with Gronkowski healthy? I would say yes.
Well, I would say yes too, but again, Peter, the problem is I think a lot of it's coaching.
Yeah.
You don't have that Bruce Arians out there.
There you go.
To get on everybody. The accountability.
That's what you're missing. That, to me, is the biggest loss of this team. And
wait, Ben, are you saying that Rob Gronkowski doesn't come back in 2022 because he's mad that Tom Brady forced Bruce Arians out of his job and forced the job to be handed to Todd Bowles? Or was it Bruce Arians, due to health, passes the job to Todd Bowles, and maybe there was a defect from within being a Rob Gronkowski, or that chasm's created from within, and it wasn't a conspiracy so much with Tom Brady, but just maybe a conspiracy from within the players because they realized what a defensive-minded coach would mean for this Buccaneers team?
Guys, I think I said this on your show too. I always believe there's a rift between Brady and Arians. I mean, I think it happened with the whole Antonio Brown thing.
Yep.
Brady wanted him here. Arians didn't want him here. But because Arians, because it's Brady, he said, okay, if it helps us win, let's get that Super Bowl ring, which it happened. And
Correct.
we thank all those guys for that. But again, Brady would come back only if Arians would step down. That's what I believe.
Well, and I believe that too. And I think that the relationship really soured when you found out that Antonio Brown had a fake vaccination card. And then, BA was like, I told you so. I told you. And even though he's productive, he quits on this team. And it made the relationship even that much worse between BA and Brady, because BA is a guy that's going to tell it like it is. He's going to be like that. I know he's a Libra. He's going to tell it like it is. And that's what you need on this team at this point, somebody to hold people accountable. And that's what Brady didn't want. And now you're starting to see, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, I think the best Brady is when he has that type of friction. He has that coach that's willing to challenge him in the way of, I remember, quarterback prospects saying they need a coach to challenge them. I think Brady is at his best when he's challenged. I think Joe Montana was at his best when he's challenged by Bill Walsh. I think the same thing could be said about Brady. He needed Belichick and he needs BA and he doesn't have it, and that's the reason why. And again, it could be age, it could be offensive line, it could be a combination of all those. But I just feel like you need that challenge, and you're not getting it from a Todd Bowles or a Byron Leftwich, if that makes sense.
Peter, all the greats, not in just football, but in all sports, have been challenged. Michael Jordan was challenged by Phil Jackson.
There you go.
I mean, that's what it's all about. You've got to get the best out of your guys. And
sure.
You can't just do it on your own. Sometimes you need that motivational factor and that accountability. And unfortunately, with Brady, I think he felt like, this is going to be another Belichick all up in my, I don't want that. Let me come back. Let me have a lot of say in this. But as we're seeing right now, Peter, and again, the injuries were devastating. Look at Ryan Jensen, Ali Marquez retired. That didn't help.
No.
But again, that's fine if you want to have say, but then you got to be accountable for what happens when it doesn't work out. As we're seeing right now, we're fighting just to get into the playoffs.
So Ben, if we're all agreeing, I mean, we're all just talking here on a Monday night, Victory Monday, which the Bucs are still in contention to win the South. It's still funny we're having this conversation, but are we all kind of starting to come to the conclusion that, again, if this scenario is true, if Tom pushed Arians out because he wanted to have total control, because he wanted to try his evil offense with Byron Leftwich, and Bowles was put in by Arians because he was the next benefactor to take over, because Bowles is basically a pretty damn good coach. But Tom is realizing that without that spur in his side, or without that, antagonist, that maybe he got 6 rings with Bill Belichick and 1 ring with Bruce Arians. Now all of a sudden he's realizing without that antagonist, maybe he doesn't have the success. And we also throw in the fact that the offensive line injuries and some of the things that happened with this team in 2022. But are we all starting to come to the conclusion that if all those things were equal across the board, are we ready to move on from Tom Brady in 2023, where he says, look, for $35 million and I want Gronk for 10, maybe the Bucs go, you know what, we're gonna take our luck from here and see where we can go. Are we getting there?
I think it's very possible, Ray, because look, this team, you can kick the can down all you want, and the front office did a great job.
Sure,
but you can kick that can down the road, but eventually you're going to see that can once you get down that road. And I think 2023 is where we're going to see that can. We can't bring everybody back. Yeah. So I just, realistically, I think I'm open to Brady coming back, but I think if I have to make a prediction, I think he's gone, and I think we start off new. We start off different next year, and I think Bowles will be back. But
yeah,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I think Brady does come back, because it's what we've all talked about. He doesn't have that challenge. He doesn't. Tampa Bay is giving him everything he wants. I think this ownership will do everything they can to keep Tom Brady happy, and I don't think you can go anywhere else and get that. And
he sells tickets. He sells tickets.
He
sells tickets.
I am amazed at how, and you listen to Colin Cowherd talk about this every day. Well, he doesn't like Tampa. He doesn't like how they were. Well, wait a minute. The whole cause of Brady going to Tampa in the first place is because he didn't like Belichick, and he didn't like the way New England was doing it because it was too serious, and now it's a little bit looser here. And now you're saying, well, he likes it better in New England, or he likes it with a coach that's more buttoned up. No, that doesn't make any sense. Brady has always wanted what Brady wants, and the Bucs have given him every opportunity for that the last 2 seasons. So why would I think that obviously all of a sudden he's going to want to go back to New England with Bill Belichick? It's like an ex. So there's a reason why they're your ex.
Pete, I like that you said that, because – go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I was going to say, he's not going back to New England, first of all. I don't see that happen. Not to New England.
Right.
It's either probably going to be, I got to be honest, Miami, where it's close to home.
Correct.
Still in the Florida.
Correct.
Or possibly Las Vegas with the Raiders, with Josh McDaniels.
And see, my thing is, you have to learn it. You're going to have to learn a new offense all over again. Maybe McDaniels, that's different because you know.
Yeah,
that.
because the Vegas Raiders are probably desperate at this point. So I mean, that might be the one team that would be like, you know what, we'll sell our soul to the devil because we're in Vegas anyway, and what the heck, we're already halfway to hell. But the fact of the matter is, there may be a couple like the John Lynch and the 49ers, or the Dolphins with Mike McDaniel. Maybe they're at a place now where they're like, look, I think Tom's the greatest of all time, but I think that there's been degradation in his arm. The guy's like 102 years old now, and he's going to want total control. And I see what's gone on in Tampa Bay. However, Bruce Arians got pushed up to the Oval Office, and now they got Byron Leftwich or Todd Bowles running that offense, and no one could figure out what's going on here. That you're right, Peter. I mean, I'm not, and I don't think that if Tom Brady's your concession prize, I don't think that's a bad concession prize. If everyone's in the same page, because Pete, you and I went live 4 years ago, and we made a defense for Jason Light getting that extended contract, because when Bruce Arians signs with this team in 2018 or 2019, his only deal was, I'll sign the 5-year extension. I'll sign a 5-year deal if that Jason Light automatically gets that 5-year, because they knew each other, they had that familiarity. And you and I had to go live that Saturday, and we did a 2.5-hour show. I was down at the Matt Mahoffer's down the beach, and we had to do it because a lot of Bucs fans were like, no, we're already tired of Bruce Arians. We don't like this. He drafted Jameis Winston. This guy sucks. And we're like, well, hold on a minute. He drafted Mike Evans, and he found Dally Marpet, and he's putting a good team together. But a lot of teams might be like, look, Tom Brady, there might be some magic still in that prize, or in that bottle, that genie might still be in that bottle, but we're good. We'll pass. We're just going to keep doing what we got to do. But the Raiders might be one of those teams with Josh McDaniel as the coach, where they're like, look, we know what we're going to get. We bring him in with a good defense, and maybe they get a run at it. So, yeah, 100%.
But the essential reason why Brady chose the Bucs in the first place is to be next to his kids.
True.
So if it's going to be anything, it's going to be East Coast team. And I say, you're too old to learn a new offense. And I get it, McDaniels, again, that's the thing. I don't think he's going out to Vegas. I want to read these comments, Ben, and we'll get back to you in a moment. David says, maybe Mike is mad like Antonio Brown was when he knew he wasn't going to get his catches for his bonus. Highly unlikely because Mike is an unselfish guy. He's not selfish like AB. Brady needs to stop thinking too much. Christopher Cole, hope you had a great birthday. Great comment here by Angie McClendon, who watches the show. Love it, Angie. Tom had major personal problems from the jump this year. You could tell he was impacted by this. Add team injuries, play calling. We could barely get a first down, running up the middle, off the field, no yardage. They run that play all the time. It's not working. I don't know who's behind that. Gronk came out and said Tom needs to run his no-huddle 2-minute drills, but early on versus coming from behind at the end. And I agree. That's a great comment.
Oh, yeah.
And basically it kind of describes the whole season. Who is calling the plays? Is it Brady? Is it Byron Leftwich? Is it Todd Bowles? And that gentleman is the problem. You knew who was calling the plays because when BA was in charge, it was BA more than likely and Byron Leftwich, and that was it in some of Tom Brady's offense in there. Because you heard the reports that BA was, taking a red pen and marking this out, marking that out. And I think that's the kind of friction. I think that's the kind of challenge you need that Brady's not getting. So to answer your question, the reason why Tom Brady would not leave the Bucs and stay here is because first, he's comfortable. Second, he's close to his kids. And I don't think there's a franchise out there that's going to do everything that the Bucs have done, which is bend over backwards for this man, even with all the distractions, give him time off. I think that goes a long way. And I think a lot of people are trying to look too much into this and say, Brady's unhappy here. I don't necessarily think he's that unhappy. At the end of the day, it's all about winning. I get that. It depends on what the Bucs do at the end of the season. But I'm not ready to say that Brady's ready to bolt town. If he's going to do anything, it's probably retire and go into the booth, in my opinion.
Oh, that's a fair statement. I mean, but we got to ask ourselves too, Pete. You got to remember, it takes 2 to tango.
Sure.
What do the Bucs want to do?
Well, I mean, Jason Light to me is in charge. I mean, he's got the Glazers ear. We know how close those two are. You saw it last night when they're walking in together. There's a reason why Tom Brady chose the Bucs. It's because he's familiar with Jason Light. So I think that plays a part in it. And I think this relationship goes all the way back to the Patriots organization. So
he was in the room.
Right. I mean, he's in the room. He's one of the reasons people just keep on glossing over that and saying, well, if you didn't have BA as a coach, would you have Tom Brady? No, you wouldn't have Tom Brady. Also, if you didn't have Jason Light, you wouldn't have Tom Brady because they're familiar with that relationship. And there was talk of, Peyton Manning going to Tom Brady and saying, BA is a guy that's a quarterback whisperer. He's worked with me. He's a great coach, offensive mind, everything else. It hasn't necessarily worked out from what we know. But at the end of the day, it really did. He did win a Super Bowl. You were scoring 30 points a game, and now you're struggling to score 20 points a game.
Peter, I'll do you one better, man.
Yeah.
I'll do you guys better. If you didn't have a Jason Light, you wouldn't have had a BA.
Nope. That's right. And everybody's like, get rid of Jason Light. Get rid of Jason Light. Wait a minute. If you don't have Jason Light, you don't have the foundation. If you don't have Jason Light, you don't have Mike Evans. What the hell are you talking about here? I mean, that's what I get. And I understand fans forget. Fan is fanatic. They're disappointed. The expectations were high. It was unfinished business. Unfinished business at this juncture isn't 7-8. But guys, we've seen a team get hot at the right time. The problem is you were expecting this a couple weeks ago where the Bucs run the table a la like 2020, and they haven't been able to do that. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, but you'd never rule out Tom Brady, right?
The greatest teams of all time, people always talk about them. They say, wow, they were able to turn it on when they had to. I mean, are we sitting here right now saying that the Bucs, I think they beat the Panthers at home? Are we saying they run a table against the Falcons? 100%. Do they beat the Cowboys in Wild Card Weekend? I mean, stay tuned. And then they go on the road to face Philadelphia or Minnesota or whoever else. And maybe Detroit Lions sneak into the wild card somehow because the Giants don't make it. Maybe they have an upset in their playoff weekend. And the Bucs end up hosting a championship game. I mean, a lot of stuff can happen. But at the end of the day, let's at least give them a chance to try. I mean, let's all have, as Bucs fans and as fans of football, but as fans of the Buccaneers, let's remember anything can happen. Even though we all like to think we know what's going to happen,
Sure.
let's not act like it's written in stone. I mean, that's the reason why they play the games.
The biggest injury this weekend that you heard of was Jalen Hurts and that AC joint to his throwing shoulder. It's not his non-throwing shoulder, ladies and gentlemen. It's his throwing shoulder. So if he's hurt, they're a different team. I don't care about Gardner Minshew. He's a quality quarterback, but he's different from what Jalen Hurts has given this team. And furthermore, if he's hurt, then all bets are off that Philadelphia is the best team in not only the NFC, but the NFL. That's how much Jalen Hurts means to that team. At the end of the day, Ben, go ahead.
And also, I was going to say, like the 49ers, you got to, as great as they are defensively, and they are, man, they're dangerous.
Yes.
But look at who their quarterback is. He's only had 3 career starts.
Brock Purdy.
They beat us.
Purdy.
They beat us down earlier in the we can get a rematch game plan, correct the mistakes we made the first time. Minnesota's I think they're just lucky. I've never seen a team more luckier than that. I'm serious. How many comebacks have they had?
I mean, the defense is just god awful, but I mean, their offense continues to find ways to come back, and it's amazing. But I don't think you can sustain that type of football. Knowing what I know and watching all football these years, you got to have a defensive-minded football team. Well, guess what? Tampa Bay has somewhat of a defensive-minded.
The Bucs have a defensive-minded team.
That's it. Can they run the ball?
No, they do.
I mean, can they play enough offense? Can they score enough points for this defense to shut them down? We shall see.
Guys,
Buckle up.
Let's forget it. We forget Villa hasn't played the last 2 games.
That's
Once
it.
he gets back in the lineup, our defense could be a lot better.
Yep. Agree.
Down the stretch.
And what's the deal with is Jensen going to get there? I mean, come on. They waited till the season started to put him on the IR so they could bring him back at any time, but they haven't activated him to the 21-day window. I mean, you would see him last game against the Bengals. He's in the end zone doing snaps to Tom Brady, practicing. I mean, you're teasing us, Ryan. Ryan comes back. Hainsey moves out to guard. You have Godecki all of a sudden. Now you got, Wells is gone now for the year, but now you start to talk about having depth, and you got your monster back at the center. I know Harry the Greek likes to talk about, is he game ready? I don't think that monster's ever not game ready. I think he'd be ready to just chew off an entire side of meat that he barbecued and then go kick somebody's butt. But I mean, there's a lot. We got a lot of things going on here at the end of the season. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great ride.
It is going to be a great ride, and it starts on Sunday, and you got to take care of your business. Ben, anything else?
No, guys. Just wanted to say your holidays went well. Mine went pretty good as well. So,
yeah, man. It's good. You got a Bucs win. Hopefully you got no coal in your stocking like Troy Polamalu did when he decided to call me out here on the Sports Web. I know.
Oh, and
yeah.
I was going to say that. Didn't I tell you that Jason guy would be creeping around? He creeps around all our shows.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I think that's Troy's cousin or something. I mean, again, we love the support. I don't know. It could be Troy. Who the heck knows? I don't discriminate. If you want to tune in and make funny comments and troll, it's cool. Just
not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, I mean, I don't know what he's saying or doing half of the time, but a lot of the webheads are like that, so it works out in that way. Good stuff, Ben. Thanks a lot for the call. Let me give you the Ric Flair. Woo! And let me go ahead and give you the air horn. It's Victory Monday, my friend. Merry Christmas and happy holidays, all right?
Merry Christmas, guys. Take care, okay?
All right, good stuff. Ben Cornett from Las Vegas. I mean,
the Ben Zone.
Yes, the Ben Zone does a great job there. Definitely check that out. We'll have to have him on the show, but I always love when he calls in. Give me some final thoughts here on the evolution of sports talk television.
I'm an optimist, and I'm looking for. This is what I said 4 weeks ago. I said that, and I'll go back. I was going to go back and look at some of my shows. I'll pull little sound feeds out. I said, look, if the Bucs are going to be win the division, the NFC South in 2022, I think all Bucs fans would agree, we didn't want them to just back into it. And they lost to the Bengals. They barely beat the Cardinals. Now they play here's the thing about it. They play the Panthers this week. And this is the week the Bucs lock their division. There's still a small, minuscule chance that if the Bucs lost I don't want to know about that. The Bucs have to take care of business against the Panthers at Raymond James this Sunday. We'll talk about after that fact if it's something should come to pass. I don't think it does. The Bucs lock it down. They beat the Panthers. They got a great divisional record. They lock down the South, and then we'll start looking forward to who's going to come in and face the 4th division winner, the Buccaneers having the lowest record in 2022 in that first wild card weekend. So Bucs fans, let's just not pack it in. Let's not say we're ready for this and fire that guy, or let's get rid of this guy, or let's see let's just enjoy it, because like I always say, it's about the journey as much more than a destination. A destination is so grand, but Bucs fans, for so many years, the destination hasn't been where we wanted it to be. So you had to go back and find the little wins, the good things, the things in the journey, the fun tailgates, the loss where you met a new friend, or the win where you didn't expect. Enjoy the journey, because the destination, it may be as grand as it's going to be, but the journey, usually that's where the good stuff is. And that's really my wrap up for a Monday Night Victory Monday here with you there, Peter.
Absolutely. The journey will be plentiful, if you will, on Sundays. We'll be live from Tarpon Springs Whiskey, giving you the pre-half and post-game edition of the evolution of sports talk television, getting you ready for Bucs versus the Carolina Panthers.
Open mic.
Yes.
Open mic up there. I'll have both mics.
Yes, you will, my friend. Thanks a lot for your time here. And as always, if I can do it, a show like that, a pre-half and post-game edition, it's always going to be with my buddies like Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire at 1252 Chicago Sports. And, of course, the first one right here on the sidewalk at Ferg's. Now it's Whiskey Wings.
Yes.
ReliaQuest the next day at Raymond James Stadium. So we're starting the new year outright on the sports web. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, Best of the Bay. Thanks a lot for your time, my friend. All right?
Keep it tuned to the sports web. We got you covered. Take care, Pete. Love you, brother.
I love you too, brother. All right, good stuff there. Ben Cornett says, thanks again, guys. Keep doing your thing. Absolutely, we shall.
Yeah.
Let me go out to these comments here. Tim says, Brady having a bad year. He's only third in the league for total yards of passing. You're exactly right. I mean, that's the craziest thing, that number in itself. But you look at the record, you look at the missed throws, and you look at this team overall. If you told me there were 7-8, barely winning the NFC South, I would tell you, what are you drinking? Thanks to all the guests tonight. Of course, thanks to Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, Best of the Bay, Harry the Greek, and, of course, Danielle Francis, the bartender of Tarpon Springs Whiskey Wings. Once again, the big-time announcement on Sunday, live here on the Sports Web on I Love St. Pete, Amped Up Sports, and The Hub. We will give you your pre, half, and post-game editions of the Sports Web, getting you ready for Bucs versus the Panthers. Do three things for me on this Victory Monday. Back to work tomorrow. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And Bucs Nation, it's your time. Have a great night.
At Whiskey Wings, we dish out more than just great food. Come in for a side of the good times with live entertainment, ice-cold drinks, and a rockin' game room your whole family can enjoy. Fire up fun.